All right, welcome to the Comic Den. I'm your host, Ace Knuckles. Back for the four-peat is Jacob Whittington, a.k.a. Chronicler 177. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Comic Den. Jacob, remind them where my mom can find you.
Well, Wesley's mom, you can always find me on my YouTube channel, Chronicler 177. No, it doesn't have anything to do with weed. I get that a lot because of the chronic.
Oh. Well, now I'm unsubscribing.
Yeah, right? I mean, God, Puffit, 420, I've never partaken. I make Halo Machinimas, which is a dying art, so if you still like those, check them out.
It was new for me. I had no idea what they were.
Is that thing going to overheat?
Probably. It spontaneously combusts. It's only 13 years old, so the fact
really? It looks pretty good.
The fact that it's still running.
Yeah, like I told you, my last Mac Pro I ran for a decade.
Yeah,
so.
I just filled up the gas tank on it, so.
And everyone tells me to buy a PC.
I love my Mac.
Yeah, fuck Mac. Yeah, I mean, fucking yeah, Mac, fuck PC. Damn, I'm horrible at this branding thing.
All right, for those of you just joining us, let me fill you in on what we're doing. First, I find a comic that I like, I give it to a person that I like, and then we talk back and forth all night long. Yeah, that's definitely going to pick up.
Just checking.
Yep. So, I would like to remind everyone that I am in no way a comic historian or expert. I do not know all there is to know about Star Wars. Jacob does, though, so make sure he gets all your hate mail.
Damn right.
All right.
I'll answer your hate mail with reasons why your hate mail is wrong, because that's what I do.
But he'll do it in a way that makes you hate him more.
Just because I do it in a classy way doesn't mean you have to hate me for it, okay? I'm just smarter than you are. That's the thing.
Everybody has to be wrong about something, right?
Exactly, and I'm here to correct them all.
Okay, Jacob, so it's been a while since you've been on here. Mm-hmm. We didn't do Volume 3 last time. We're doing Volume 3 now. Mm-hmm. So for those people who might be confused whenever I put Darth Vader Volume 3, the last volume we covered was actually Vader Down, which was a crossover between Star Wars and Jason Aaron's Star Wars and Kieran Gillen's Vader.
It was basically Captain America Civil War. Except
everybody expected it.
Yeah, that's true.
And you end up rooting for the bad guy.
Yeah, also very true. That is something that this Darth Vader comic does masterfully, is make you root for the guy you want to hate.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about episode 4? In this episode
context.
4.
I was gonna say
you're a veteran right now.
Yeah, I am. Excited, of course, because this can only keep getting better. Mm-hmm. Unless they just pull Halo 5 and just take everything that they've established and trash it, we should be just fine.
Spoiler alert, that's exactly what they do.
God damn it. Every single thing I get invested into.
So what they actually do in Volume 4 is they take the movies, which are well established. That's how life is in the Star Wars universe. And they say, yeah, Vader dies here, and he dies naked in a cornfield.
That's gonna suck.
So it's cool how they get there, but then you realize that they just did fake chronology.
Is the author receiving death threats?
I'm sure he is.
Okay, then I believe it. Because you can only have something either really good or really bad if the author is receiving death threats.
The problem that I find with Star Wars fans in general,
fucking assholes.
In general, is that no matter whether it's amazing or not, and I guess it's not just Star Wars fans, a lot of nerd fandoms, you're gonna receive death threats even if it's awesome.
Oh yeah, no. Look at shit. Here come mine. Look at The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Look at fucking Halo 4. Look at almost everything.
Yeah. I mean, even the Marvel movies, which are destroying, they're beating their own records. While that's the only people beating the record is them.
It's like if Usain Bolt made the fastest run ever, and then he beat it again. That's what Marvel is doing
7 times.
Right now. Yeah, that's what Marvel is doing right now.
When you're 1st through 7th in the box office, and yet every single time people hate it.
Isn't Infinity War like the most profitable movie ever at this point? It's up there.
Yeah, and
it's
what's
like right up there next to Avatar and Titanic.
And what's amazing about how profitable it is that usually whenever you talk about profits, you're like, oh, we spent a little and we made a lot. Here's like, we spent all of it.
Yeah, and we made triple all of it back.
We had to print money so that people could pay us more.
How do you feel about Endgame coming up? I have tickets at 10:30. I'm going to be one of the first people in Wichita to see it.
I think
on Thursday.
I think I'm going to hold off. I want to hold off for about a week just so that we don't have to get stabbed to get in line.
Yeah, just be careful because it has leaked right now. People are spoiling it. All the mods on Reddit, they're literally standing up like human shields against the barrage of people that are trying to spoil it.
I don't understand that. Why do people get joy
because
out of
they're
ruining
assholes.
things?
Because people are assholes, and that's just how they are. So be careful. You're gonna have to take about a week off the entire internet if you want to be safe.
Yeah.
If there's any movie you're gonna do it for, it's this one.
I was looking at getting tickets Sunday the 5th.
Thanos snapped all the seats already. They're all taken. Sorry.
No, there were actually some seats that were pretty good in the IMAX, which I was a little surprised about.
Don't see it in IMAX. It's a 3-hour movie. At least don't see it in 3D.
No, we don't see anything in 3D.
God, fuck 3D.
Yeah.
3D is the worst damn idea in theaters since like putting other people in theaters together.
It's funny that we go to movies like in-game and stuff like that to escape reality and have kind of way to experience life as a superhero or whatever.
Or something.
Yeah. And then what do we try to do but make it more reality based so that it looks 3D?
I mean, in all honesty, I get where the idea is coming from because if you want to be
because you can sell movies or tickets for more money.
Well, also that, but if they want you to be there, 3D is the most efficient way of doing that. The problem is the way we have it right now gives you, at least me, massive freaking headaches.
Well, and it also doesn't account for people who have glasses.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that was one of my big things because I'm looking through a lens and then the glasses don't fit right.
Let me tell you, all nerds have glasses.
Yeah.
I have glasses right now, you just can't see them.
He puts on glasses just for movies.
Yeah, that's right.
He doesn't even need them. They don't have lenses. Nope. He just puts them on.
Anytime I'm talking about anything nerdy, glasses,
gone.
And they have cloaking technology, which is why you can't see them. In fact, I don't think I necessarily need them right now, so I'm just gonna.
So a ton has happened since last we met. Why don't you fill in everybody, my single viewer, my mom, on what you've been doing?
What I've been doing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Was Spartan's Omega Halo out when we last talked?
No.
Okay, so I released my latest machinima project, which was a remake of the first one that I ever made way back in 08, 09, 010. And it was met with very positive reception. Limited amounts of reception, as anything I ever make is, but very positive reception from those who are invested, of which there are a decent amount, probably 40, 50 people. Episodes are averaging between 7 to 1,000 views right now, so that's not bad. It's been out since February. And we are currently ramping up to my next production, which I have been busting my ass over. Script is done, forging the sets right now, and it's funny because my last project was in an older Halo game, Halo 3, where the map builder was very limited. So I could only use pre-existing maps and just move some like crates and vehicles around and stuff. We good?
You're good. I just don't like the fact that it's not
fair enough
between us.
Yeah, okay. But this new one, the map editor is actually a map editor, so I have control over terrain, skybox, weather effects, fog, wind, every single fucking thing. So we are building 50 or so odd sets for this 2-hour project. It's a big undertaking. And then the actual filming will begin, and that's going to be much more difficult because Halo 5 is so bug-ridden compared to everything else I've ever worked with, so that ought to be fun. But if we can get it to work, I think this is going to be one of the best things I ever make. It's called Brotherhood War, so
Okay, so where does this fit in on the timeline of your last project?
So Spartan's Omega Halo was very early in the Spartan Legacy, but Brotherhood War is going to be the latest.
Okay.
So it is up to date in the timeline. But I had to make Omega Halo first because the rest of the timeline leading up to Brotherhood War was flawed and not connected until Omega Halo came out.
Okay, so if people go onto your page, do you have like everything mapped out chronologically?
I just released a channel trailer. It's about 5 minutes. It explains all my big stuff and has links to my master playlist. So you can click on the Spartan Legacy master playlist. It'll have all the episodes in order right there to watch. You just have to click the first one. It'll got autoplay on. It'll play through all the rest. Probably about take you about a week if you're watching constantly.
Yeah, I would just pop them in like while I'm driving because I mean I know you put a lot of production into the actual like filming of it, but the script's written in such a way you know what's happening. So like whenever I was driving, or if I would like park, because I like to get places early, so I'd park and I'd put it up and I'd watch it before work or something like that, or whenever I had a bit here, a bit there. Same thing I do with my podcasts. I try to watch them a chunk at a time, and I think it lends itself to it pretty well.
I would hope so, yeah. There are some parts in these more action-oriented ones where there is no script and it's just gunshots and explosions. Right. But as soon as that resolves up and one of the characters says, "This battle is over," something like that, yeah, you're okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm also driving while I'm, just...
I'm taking peeks at it. You can get arrested for that.
They don't know what I'm looking at. All right. So we are officially 4 stories into the run now. How do you feel about the general flow of Darth Vader from Volume 1 to 2 to Vader down into Volume 3?
Well, Vader himself, I think, has been fairly consistent. It's kind of everyone around him, I think, who's been changing a bit. Obviously, we have Aphra.
Right.
Who we didn't see at all in this last one because she was captured in Vader Down. But over time, she has definitely... I think she's definitely become accustomed more to working with, a Dark Lord of the Sith. And Vader does kind of change everybody around him a little bit, he walks into a room, everybody can feel it because he's Darth fucking Vader. So...
That is his middle name. It changed.
Yeah.
They couldn't say it in the movies, but if you look at his new birth certificate...
Darth fucking Vader.
Yep.
It's funny because it's a holdover because previously he was Anakin fucking Skywalker.
Yeah.
So, at least he got to keep that part of his identity.
Right.
Mine as well.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he didn't get my middle name because Darth Gottlieb Vader just doesn't quite flow as Darth fucking Vader.
It's more of a character from Spaceballs.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Darth fucking Helmet. Yeah. That was his name, Dark Helmet. Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
I can't breathe in this thing.
Comb the desert.
We ain't found shit. It's a legendary movie.
Now we have to go watch it.
At some point, yeah. I actually don't even know if I own it. I had the book at one point, and it was censored. Yeah, they replaced all the curse words with other stuff. They replaced every mention of a curse word with the word Verschluggener.
So that was probably just part of the joke.
Might have been.
I can't imagine that they would...
I haven't read it in like a decade.
That's great.
That's pretty good.
So personally, I feel like each one of these volumes could be a movie, like on its own.
I'll agree with that. Maybe a short movie, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't have to have a 4-hour movie.
You don't have to have a 4-hour movie, period. Jesus God.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing about Endgame is it's so long.
Hours, yeah. But it has earned it.
Right. But that's a lot of entertainment that you have to do.
Yeah, it is. But they do have how many characters melding together?
Yeah, all of them.
Basically, except for the ones who are...
And did you see Brie Larson's outfit at whenever they did the red carpet?
I didn't.
So it's become like a meme now.
Wait, the one with the rings?
Yeah, she's got all the rings and the bracelet.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome is that?
That's pretty neat. My wife hates Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like everybody else out there right now.
Every other woman.
And a lot of men too, mostly men. I think something about her ruining the MCU or something. I don't see it. I think she might be a bit of a big head with what she's gotten here, but I don't think she's ruining anything. I don't think any of the rest of the cast hate her.
No.
But people want you to believe that.
Well, and also, okay, how is she gonna ruin the MCU? She didn't write the script. She didn't do any of it.
That's what
all she did was read the lines.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling Alyssa. I say she has no control over it.
Right.
It's not up to her. She's coming in, doing stuff, and getting a paycheck and going home. That's
right.
She's an actor.
Yeah, now
she's not the face of it.
And I'll give her this: like, she legitimately spent time learning Captain Marvel beforehand.
Yeah. And I had no previous information about Captain Marvel, and I enjoyed Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Well, and I think people also get mad anytime there's a movie where somebody else can stand up and take pride in it. Mm-hmm. Then people are gonna be like, "Oh, so it's got to be a big political thing." And I'm like, "Why do you have to make it political?"
I think it's more or less just because it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, look at almost the same thing happened with Black Panther.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. I mean, it was a little worse for Captain Marvel because I don't know. Maybe it's because Black Panther was still a man.
Maybe.
I don't know, but either way, they both made a shit ton of money.
Well, and I also
and got good reviews.
Good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand if you were championing a movie because of its diversity and stuff like that, and then it was just crap for the sake of diversity.
Oh, Ghostbusters. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, Ocean's 8.
I actually liked Ocean's 8. But I haven't seen any of the other Ocean's movies.
Okay.
I only went along because Alyssa wanted to see it.
Yeah. It was...
I also have a thing for heist movies, which is...
Ocean's 8 was a callback to the other movies in every single step except with women.
For the women. Yeah, okay. So like Ghostbusters.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, they even had a little Asian person who did little Asian person things.
So that was a reference too?
All of it was. Every single step.
See, okay, so
there were zero original thoughts.
So that's why my viewership is skewed on it then. I have seen the other Ghostbusters movies, and I did not see the new Ghostbusters. I've never seen an Ocean's movie except Ocean's 8.
Now you're going to watch the other 3 Ocean's movies and be like, these movies suck. They just keep doing callbacks to 8.
No, here's the thing. I probably won't watch them.
They're awesome movies. I love the other
sure
movies.
They are. I'm sure
especially if you love heist movies.
Yeah, I probably should. I just won't. There's a lot of stuff I should watch that I don't.
So,
Anne Hathaway was also looking pretty good at it, though.
It's not very hard to do.
No.
So, like I said, I feel like each volume could be a movie, but it's also working towards like a larger... Right. It's not like here's a story, and here's a story, and here's a story. It's all... Like, if you put all these together in an omnibus, it would read as a book.
Well, that's what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
All of Star Wars done well is like that.
Yeah.
Even shows like Rebels and the Clone Wars, it's got little bits
fits in
here and there, but it is all working towards something bigger.
Yeah.
Which that is something that Star Wars usually does very well when done correctly.
Right. Maybe they should get, some of those people from Transformers to start writing their movies.
Oh, Christ. Can we not do that? We just talked to you about how bad The Last Night was.
They could actually work. They could work Transformium into Star Wars.
Transformium.
That's what they can. Okay. That's what they can build the Death Star 4.0 with.
I'm fine with Endgame being 3 hours long because it has earned it. You know what I wasn't fine with being 3 hours long? Fucking Age of Extinction. Oh my god! What the hell?
But it uses words like extinction, so it's gonna be cool.
And like I told you, and I'm gonna say this again, and I'm gonna keep saying it. There's a lot of really good ideas in the Michael Bay Transformers movies. They're just suffer from a horrible execution. Horrible execution. Like, oh my god. Yeah, how did this get past anyone?
I don't know. Dollar signs.
The first one did it best, and then the second one suffered from the writer's strike, and the others just never picked up.
Yeah, I could see that. Like I said, I was super excited about Transformers when it first came out. But it's almost like they made the universe too big, too fast.
They're even fucking with their own continuum. I mean, in The Last Night, it shows that Bumblebee was in World War II.
Yeah. when it shows him
What?
coming down.
Well, Bumblebee was the movie Bumblebee was
Right.
It's technically a reboot, so it's a whole
Right.
continuum. But yeah, in 2007's Transformers, it's established he hasn't been there that long. There was no fucking. They can't keep anything straight anymore. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Well, if they're going to use Bumblebee as a reboot, then
Which
you have
I did
to
hear
ignore...
got very good reviews.
Yeah, it
But
did.
I'm hesitant about seeing it because it has to be really good if it's going to counteract how bad The Last Night was.
Yeah, there's a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and I think...
Which is why TL6 isn't getting made.
Right.
Or TF6, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, out of the 4 volumes that you've read so far, do you have a favorite?
Probably Vader Down, to be honest. That was kick-ass.
Yeah.
They're all good. What the fuck was that?
What was what?
I don't know. Some just flew over there.
Oh, who knows?
It was bigger than I'd like it to be. But
Birds?
Yeah. No, just
We've got various wildlife
not
down here.
that big. Small enough, but big enough to creep me out. I'll let you know if it comes back up.
All right.
I'm going to be watching it right there for the rest of this thing. But yeah, Vader Down was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it had the best Darth Vader quote. The best Darth Vader quote is not in the movies. It's in Vader Down, where he's surrounded by nothing but fear and dead men. Oh my god, what a line!
Yeah.
Wow,
Okay.
I wish I could write something that
So
good.
the only way that I think you can write Vader is either drink a lot of caffeine and then counteract that with sleeping medication, and then wake up in the middle of the night and jot down the crazy dreams you have.
Or just skip all that and do just massive fucking binges of cocaine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got an idea. Just Post-its everywhere. You look like Ace Ventura after he dusted the
Yeah.
that and Post-it notes everywhere.
It's clean, Spike! Yeah, no, it's... like in Bruce Almighty. Post-its!
Yeah. Just you riding everywhere. Hair all over the place.
Sure, why not?
So, should Disney look into making a Vaderverse of movies?
I think Disney needs to be very careful at what they look into making next. I think they need to be really fucking careful because while I appreciate the movies that have come out, they are really on thin ice. Because one wrong move and the whole thing is going to come crumbling down. I'm really afraid Rise of Skywalker is going to be that wrong move.
Really?
Yeah. The last time I saw a franchise pull a complete 180 on itself as a response to fan backlash was Halo. And it has been 4 going on 5 years since we've had a new game, and that new game is undoubtedly going to be more or less a reboot, which sucks. The Last Jedi was so divisive, and so many people were threatened to be killed over it. I mean, look at Kelly Marie Tran, the poor girl.
That's so stupid.
I know.
Arguably one of the brighter spots of that movie, too.
I mean, yeah, I liked her character for the most part. I
Well,
didn't like
look
like
at
the Canto Bite stuff. But
look at the situation that her character was put in. It was the only good part of that part of the movie.
yeah, pretty much.
The completely irrelevant part that had nothing to do with anything, that pissed everybody off to begin with. She was arguably one of the better parts of it.
Yeah, I'll agree. And she got her point across until the end, where she stopped Finn from saving the people he loved and told him to save the people that he loved. That was not well executed. But
again,
don't
that's not-
send the actor death threats, humanity. Come on.
But that's also not her. That's the writers.
The writers. Yeah, it's not her fucking
Send
fault.
the
It's
writers death threats.
You know, the same fucking... Don't send anybody death threats. But the same thing happened in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
You know, Jake Lloyd is like in an institute, and I'm at best Jar Jar Binks. The poor guy got shit on.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my... Humanity as a race sucks a big fat cock. They just...
Right, but we're producing some of the coolest stuff right now.
Yeah, and you know what that's getting people? Death threats!
Right, okay, so here's... The thing with that, though, is... Are we going to let a very small amount of crazy... In relation to the Star Wars fan base, there's a very small amount of crazy that's sending a lot of hate.
But that is the thing. Even though they're the minority, they're the vocal minority.
They're
And
also the
vocal
minority that will take action.
I know. I know, because the people who like the movies don't have to take action because they liked it.
Right.
But no, the vocal minority is what fucks up timelines.
Well, and that's what's insane,
It's what
too.
makes people retcon for the most part. Oh, there's Milo. It's what... He just walked past. It's what makes people retcon. It's what makes people do complete 180 reverse-skis on their stories. And they've already talked about how they were okay with retconning stuff in Last Jedi. And the only reason they would talk about it is if they're actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna hurt, and they can make it hurt less by, I don't know, providing at least some kind of explanation for it. I don't know. We got to see the movie first, but to use a very good quote in relation to what we're talking about, I have a bad feeling about this.
So I watch a show on YouTube called CinemaSins.
Fuck CinemaSins. Fuck CinemaSins.
I love that.
No,
show.
fuck CinemaSins. And I used to like him too for a couple videos, and then I started watching Cinema Wins, and I realized how cancerous all that negativity is.
I like it because I love just shit talking. And it's the thing with him is most of it is good natured. He does
still.
Now again, are you going to let a few vocal people ruin it because they took it the wrong way?
Yeah.
So
because that's all they can hear. That's the problem.
Right, but I'm not going to let him ruin shit
no,
for me like that.
you won't, but other people do.
Right, but I enjoy it because of what it is.
Right. Which is what everybody seems to have a problem doing these days.
Right. But he talks about how in the prequels, Obi-Wan Kenobi's character was reduced to one-liners the entire time. And
I don't know if that's true,
and how
but he did have a lot of good ones.
Like, it was all just campy one-liners for him.
It wasn't all campy one-liners. Like, really look at it. It wasn't all, but it was a
Well,
lot.
no, it's 18 hours worth of movies.
Yeah.
So...
But we did get the best fucking memes from
Yes.
the prequel movies. r/prequel memes is... And everything is quotable. Everything is... everything... Like, okay. When... Like, okay, let's take any obscure line from the prequel movies. The Phantom Menace. This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. There are so many ways you could use that when we're working in gear and a customer comes in and we're helping them and they say they have twins. This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them. Come on, it's so workable. And yeah, it's campy, but you know what? It's fine the way it is.
And that's the thing is, I think those movies have aged well.
Some of the effects, not necessarily, but...
No, absolutely not the effects, but the movies themselves, I think, are looked upon more fondly.
Well, yeah, because we have a new thing for everybody to hate the sequel movies.
That's true.
That's all that's happened. The hate has just moved on.
Yeah.
The movies haven't gotten any worse or better. The people who hate have just moved on to the new thing to hate.
Yeah.
And the people who love the prequels still love the prequels for what they are.
That's why I've stopped looking at, like when I look up things on Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. And to their credit, they have a critics and a fan group.
User score.
And so I completely ignore the critics because 90% of the time, those critics do not align with what the people think.
They also don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right. Because why would they care? They're looking for, like, Oscar style. Well, the critics are looking for something Oscar worthy. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're doing a horror movie, whenever you're doing an action movie, whenever you're doing a comic book movie, 9 times out of 10, you will not find Oscar-worthy material.
Stuff, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Right. But they will write their review as if that means they're bad.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, it's just... Yeah. It sucks. But if a movie gets, like, bad fan reviews, people who paid their money... Because I'll tell you what, if I see a free movie, I'm more likely to dislike the movie because I really have no investment. But if I paid for it... then I'm going to go in and be like, yeah, that was a pretty good movie. It was worth paying for.
I mean, I don't know. You'd be surprised how many people pay to see movies that they know they're going to hate just to shit on it.
Yeah, I don't. Me and my wife, we kind of break movies down into a list. Is this a rent movie?
Thank you.
Or is this a watch movie?
Right.
Like a go paid to watch it movie? And, you know, a lot of movies fall into that rent category.
Yeah, they do.
So, and that doesn't mean it's bad. That means I'm not willing to risk my money for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
we
then,
do the same
yeah,
thing.
sometimes we rent it and we're like, oh man, that was fantastic.
The problem is we never end up renting any of the movies we're going to say we're going to rent.
We go to Family Video a lot.
Oh, fuck Family Video.
But
everything they have is scratched to hell.
Yeah, but it's the only place you can go to rent movies at a decent price.
I just rent stuff off of Google. But then again, we don't rent often.
Right. Because, I mean, like, Amazon, you get it for 3 days, but it's still, like, $6.
Yeah. $3 on YouTube if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Of course, depends, but yeah.
But, yeah, so, I mean, we'll also rent movies that we meant to go see in a theater and be like, man, I'm really glad we didn't do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we haven't seen a movie that we didn't like in a theater ever since we started doing that.
I have a couple exceptions. Ready Player One. Fuck, that might actually be it.
And then your birthday movie.
Well, that was before Alyssa really and I got into it. But, Age of Extinction was the worst birthday movie ever. Oh, my God. So,
Vaderverse, or should they start looking at just new characters and new storylines?
Well, see, they're kind of going to start doing that with stuff like The Mandalorian, and they've kind of already dabbled in that with things like Rebels, and stuff like that has gotten mixed reception. But the problem is anything Star Wars is going to do as far as like film or TV is going to get mixed reception anyway because it's Star Wars.
Well, and okay, so one of my big issues with Solo, which I actually enjoyed a lot.
Solo's a fun
movie. It was a really fun movie. I hated that they felt the need to do constant callbacks.
Yeah. Like
Lando could have been better if at the very, and I've told you, we've talked about this. I think they told Glover to just Lando it up at the beginning. But once he like got into it in the movie, it seems like he kind of hit his stride. And I know they don't film movies chronologically.
Not usually.
But it almost, like, that's how it works. Because whenever you first meet him, it's like Lando at 1,000. But then he's just Lando. Which he might have been putting on a show. It
wasn't a card game.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by a lot of aliens.
Right. But it was the whole interaction whenever he first met them. And they were like, once they got to know each other a little better, it seemed like there was more cohesion.
Yeah.
And I really ended up liking the character. But
yeah, and that's the thing about Solo as a movie. It was fine. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Right.
But for God's sake, it really didn't necessarily need to happen.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yep.
Yeah. And you could perhaps
I think it's also my wife.
Okay. You could perhaps make the same argument for Rogue One, but Rogue One brought us a lot of new.
Yeah.
Where Solo kind of didn't.
Well, and that's what so Rogue One, those are two perfect movies to put side by side because they're essentially the same thing.
Rogue One, they're both Star Wars stories, but Rogue One is what a Star Wars story should be.
Right. They're in the main timeline. They have direct influence on the rest of the movies.
But it's totally new characters, locations, stuff we haven't seen before.
Rogue One had very few like callbacks for the sake of callbacks. Right.
I mean, it wasn't. There's like Yavin, but of course it's Yavin. They're talking to the fucking rebels. The rebels were on Yavin. This is what it is.
Right, but it's not like they walk past a TV and you see like Yoda on there.
Right.
I mean, and that's what it seemed like in Solo was just like they threw in all the Star Wars,
and then
so that people would be like, "Oh my God, there it is!
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at that!" Like you can't make a movie based on Easter eggs.
Right. Well, speaking of Easter eggs, how about them fucking dice?
Yeah.
The dice were in one shot in A New Hope, and they made them really relevant in The Last Jedi, and I'm not sure why, until I saw Solo, and then I went, oh, that's why.
But see, that kind of stuff's cool.
It was fine. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
Because it wasn't there. I mean, it was there originally, but let's face it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't in any of the other movies. It was barely in A New Hope as it was, you know?
Right. So, speaking of trailers and whatnot.
That's me this time.
All right, we are all just very popular.
Scammers.
Yeah, that's what mine said was scam likely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the latest trailer.
Oh, yeah, for Rise of Skywalker?
So you and I had talked about it at work that originally it was supposed to be like the past is behind us, we're moving forward.
That's what The Last Jedi set out to establish, yes, and
Right.
everybody apparently hated that.
And yet, in the trailer, you get Luke, who's dead, Leia,
Who's dead?
yeah, in the real world.
Yeah.
You get Lando,
Which is okay, I guess. I mean, he was bound to come in at some point.
right? You get Kylo's destroyed helmet, Palpatine's laugh.
Reverse. Kylo's destroyed helmet that he's putting back together is
Right.
the important part.
Yeah,
The whole thing about The Last Jedi was Kylo coming out of his shell as both Snoke's wannabe Darth Vader and also, the person that everyone expects him to be, and Kylo finally coming into his own and smashing the helmet was part of that. So
Yeah.
him rebuilding the helmet
Is
while
going
I do love
backwards.
the helmet is completely against everything that The Last Jedi set up, and it
Right.
completely goes against all of the character growth we had, which is why, and I quote, I have a bad feeling about this.
Now, the best part about the trailer, for me, and this kind of goes along with the past, is where they're standing on a planet, and you have wreckage from
The Death Star.
The Death Star.
Which is might be cool. It just depends on what they do with it.
The reason it's my favorite part is because they never fucking explain what happened to all those tiny pieces of Death Star when the thing exploded.
I told you what happened. There was the Ewok Holocaust.
The genocide of the Ewok.
Yeah.
The decimation.
They blew up the Death Star into orbit, and all the pieces rained down onto Endor, the moon of Endor, sorry.
The extinction of the Ewok.
What the fuck do you think happened? Where else is that supposed to go?
Right. So maybe we get some Ewok extinction footage in this one.
Well, it's funny because in the kind of kids book, The Rise, the Glove of Darth Vader, they stipulated that a black hole from the Death Star's hyperdrive opened up and swallowed the pieces and sent them somewhere else.
Wouldn't it also swallow the planet?
This is Star Wars, man. That shit doesn't have to apply.
You mean okay, so there's an explosion in the orbit.
It was an anomaly created by the hyperspace engine, which is...
Right, but let's work through that.
Yeah.
Here's Endor. Here's orbit.
Yeah.
The Death Star explodes. It would rain down on Endor. But instead, to save the Ewoks, an anomaly opened up, swallowed all the pieces, but didn't swallow Endor, which is still right there.
And the Glove of Darth Vader and its following 5 books are not canon, so...
Yeah, I mean...
Of course, none of that's canon anymore, is it?
I think there's a porno called The Glove of Darth Vader.
God, I hope not. I do hope there's a porno called The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Maybe.
Just kidding. She's dead.
That's part of it.
Oh, God, no.
All right.
No.
Oh, man, if we had enough viewers to be monetized, that would all go away right now.
Oh, yeah, there goes your fucking money. You're welcome.
Yeah, because that's the viewership I have. So, Luke says no one is ever gone.
Which, of course, is just a way to segue Palpatine back in, and I still don't know how I feel about that. Again, it's all gonna come down to execution, and it's either gonna be really good or it's gonna be fucking awful.
So, we see lots of Jedi ghosts.
Yeah, but Sith don't have ghosts. They can't.
Why?
Something about the Force.
Okay.
I read it somewhere once. Let me recall. So Jedi can become, well, not even Jedi, Force users who have become one with the Force. So that's why we don't see a Force ghost of Mace Windu or Ki-Adi-Mundi, because they weren't as...
Well, Mace Windu got reincarnated as Shaft, who got reincarnated as Nick Fury.
I mean, yeah.
Who's now also reincarnated back as Shaft.
But anyway, the few who were able to become one with the Force that we've seen, we have Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon was able to speak to Obi-Wan about it, and then
Right.
Yoda, Obi-Wan, Luke, as we no doubt expect, and Anakin.
Yeah.
Sith, or not even just Sith, dark side users are not supposed to be able to do it because they are not wholly in touch with the Force.
Yeah.
The dark side of the Force, as it is not... I do not believe that the light side and dark side are mere sides of the coin. I believe that the dark side is a corrupt way to use the Force because it poisons everybody who touches it.
Okay, so the way I look at it is a gun. Now, a gun is neither good nor evil.
It's how you use it.
Right. Now, people who are good will use it as a tool for good. Mm-hmm. You'll use it to protect your family. You'll use it to have fun. Go target shoot. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Hunt with it. But an evil person will use it specifically as a tool to hurt. Mm-hmm. And that's the only reason they'll use it.
Right.
And so I kind of look at the Force like that, where the people who use it on the light side, they use it, they embrace it. It's a tool to be just enjoyed in an ideal world. Now, do they ever have to use it to fight? Yes. But they also use it to, like, do the dishes or flip a pancake.
The Jedi use the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
Right. Whereas the dark side use it as something to just be wielded.
Yeah.
Not something to commune with or work with or let run through.
And if we are looking specifically at the old Sith, they do see the dark side as something freeing, because if you look at the original Sith code that we see in Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that, they talk about hold on, I want to look this up because I want to get it right. I played through Knights so many fucking times.
But we also know that evil people will corrupt and pervert ancient text, though. I mean, we see it in our world all the time, where you have ancient religious text or whatever.
Okay, here it is. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. So that immediately denounces everything that the Jedi set up.
Right. Through
passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. So they view it as a way of freeing themselves. But it's still that's still treating it like a tool.
Right. And not once do they mention using it to maybe free others.
Right.
It's all about me.
The Force shall free me.
Right. So,
which falls perfectly in line with the Sith. Makes sense.
With no one has ever really gone, somehow they bring Palpatine. Technically, we never saw him die.
He fell into a fucking reactor that immediately blew up.
Lots of people fall into lots of holes in Star Wars.
Yeah, I know.
There are a lot. Star Wars universe is just riddled with holes that everybody's falling down.
I'm not concerned with the way that he's back, because it's Star Wars. Palpatine was an incredibly powerful Sith wielder. I'm sure that there was some way he was able to hang on. I don't care about that. I can believe it. I care about what they do with him.
Yeah.
That is all we should care about.
Which brings me to my next point with them retconning. And everybody's so upset that Rey came from nothing. Did Palpatine impregnate Leia and they made Kylo, or Rey's mom?
Who's Rey's mom?
I don't know.
Palpatine? No, and see, that's the thing I'm worried about, because one of my favorite things about The Last Jedi was that they had the balls to say, Rey, you come from nothing.
Yes.
They're gonna fuck that up.
Right. I think Palpatine...
They're gonna fuck it up.
I think Palpatine ghost fucked Rey's mom.
I sure fucking hope not, because that would be even worse. That would be even lamer.
It would be.
In fact, Palpatine, I think, having just about anything to do with Rey's creation would be...
Now...
Well, okay, again, it could go either way. It could be awful, it could be good. It just depends on the execution.
I want to take a timeout right now. So at 44 minutes in, if you don't want any spoilers, skip ahead, and I'll tell you when I'm done on this. So
spoilers for what?
The other run of Vader that's going on. So the way that ended, the way the other run that's going on ended, is that Vader breaks through the veil and finds out that Palpatine manipulated the midichlorians, created Anakin inside of his mother. Ergo,
so that's canon now.
Yes.
I could see that.
Which, in the comics, is amazing.
Yeah.
They do it right. It makes sense. It flows because it's a prequel. It's from Vader creation to, the end of that story. But it's all before episode 4. Which would explain kind of Vader's attitude towards him all throughout here.
Right.
It flows, and it makes for a good story. What they're going to do if they did something like this in the movie, it completely diminishes it.
Yeah.
And they're just going to say, fuck you, all comic book readers.
Yeah, pretty much. The best case scenario I could see for Palpatine being involved in anything is that he was in charge of creating at least the First Order, which would explain...
All right, we're done with the spoilers, by the way.
Which would give a very good reason for Snoke being killed off so early. If Snoke himself was just a puppet of Palpatine,
it
doesn't invalidate Snoke.
Right.
Snoke was still important if he did that. But if he was answering to Palpatine, that does click a lot of things into place.
Sort of like a Dooku situation.
Right. Why he was so obsessed with creating a new Darth Vader. Because that was Palpatine's goal, was to create Darth Vader, the most powerful Sith Lord in existence. He failed because Anakin's ass got brutally beat by Obi-Wan.
Right.
By the way, fun fact, I read somewhere that Vader's suit is specially designed to cause him pain with every movement he makes as a reward for how badly he fucked up against Obi-Wan.
Really?
Because Palpatine designed the suit.
That makes sense. But in the comics, he also retinkers.
Yeah, well,
and he recreates his suit.
Of course he's going to, but originally that was the idea. So again, with Palpy being back, it all boils down to what they do with it.
Well, and also, who knows how much he's back? Maybe
True.
Maybe they just found his manifesto. We don't even know that he's alive. They just said, because again, your ideas live forever. Your legacy. It could be.
Your laugh does too.
Yes. Maybe that's what they would go with. And I would rather see that movie.
Yes.
I would rather see, somebody sitting with Palpatine's manifesto, reading through it, and you could even read it in Palpatine's voice. I don't care. But there's no reason, unless you have a really good one, to have him alive.
Right.
No reason. Other than fan service, of what you think is fan service.
Right. Also to completely fuck everything The Last Jedi set up. But
right.
And that was part of the beauty of The Last Jedi's ending, is it could go in any direction with what it was at. So, I don't know. Again, it just... And the other great part about this trailer, because there was good in it, and the best part was that we still don't know a fucking thing about the movie, other than its title, and Palpatine's going to be involved in some way, presumably.
I think...
because most trailers just end up... These days, most trailers just tell you the whole fucking movie, so you don't have to go to see it.
I think in-game has changed trailers.
You think so?
Yes. So, even though they've released 1 million trailers for in-game...
Which I've watched one of.
Most of them are sounds, somebody talking, and the Avengers walking from one place to another.
And also clips from old movies.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, they don't actually tell you anything.
Which is great.
Now, I don't know about the last one that they released one more. I haven't watched it, but the other ones that they did release, it was people walking in various directions and Robert Downey Jr. talking. I mean, that's all it was.
That's fine. Honestly, with something like that is what a trailer should
But
be.
it hypes you up, gets you excited, reminds you that it's still there, and then it shows you like the cool outfits, which is what you want to see.
I'm going to McDonald's. Do you want hamburger?
Jesus.
That was the newest trailer.
Yeah. How much did McDonald's pay for that?
Hamburger. But no, you may be right. At the very least, they've changed it with how Disney does it.
Yeah.
Which is great. We need more of that. We need a lot more of that.
Right. I'm still waiting on the Avengers Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, which should be really good. That's where everybody went when he snapped his fingers. What if that's where they went? They went to other movies. I mean...
Captain Jack's there.
I'm just saying, Nick Fury disappeared at the end of Infinity War, and now all of a sudden we're getting a Shaft movie. Maybe Thanos switched him into different universes where they're different characters.
Did you see the Geico commercial where he has the Infinity Gauntlet?
No.
So the fucking Gecko sees the trailer, the poster for Endgame, and he says, "The Infinity Gauntlet. What if I had that kind of power?" And it shows him with it, and he snaps his fingers, and people start saving money on car insurance. I want to see that movie.
Yes.
No, he snaps it, and Flo starts to disintegrate, and On Farmers starts to disintegrate, and all the other companies start to disintegrate. That sounds about right.
So, in Star Wars, there's a lot of talk about prophecy and stuff like that. Do you think in a story that prophecy diminishes the storyline, or do you think it helps?
Again, depends on how well it's implemented, because you look at a storyline where a character is prophesized to be the one who saves everybody. I'm thinking of, I don't know, did Aragon do that? Hey, Milo. He's gone again. Anyway, but you look at something that says, yes, you are going to be the chosen one, and then he goes along and does everything that he's prophesied to do. That's fucking boring.
Right.
But then you look at some things that actually do it right. Like, I consider that Harry Potter did it well. Because you look at the prophecy, and it just said a boy born at this time will defeat the Dark Lord. And that could have meant Harry or Neville.
Mm-hmm.
It all depended on what they actually did. That they weren't predestined to do it, but somebody did it.
Right.
They chose to do that. That is how you do it right. And if you ask me, I think the prophecy in Star Wars is bunch of mythical bullshit that everybody in universe puts too much stock into.
Right, and that was the thing is that
I mean, look at the Jedi. That's the reason why they fell.
Well, they said, Anakin was the chosen one. You were the chosen one.
Yeah.
You were supposed to bring balance to the Force.
Which, to be fair, he did in a totally kind of roundabout way. But they were totally blinded by this prophecy.
So, here's how I kind of set it up. Palpatine created Anakin. Anakin creates Luke. Was Anakin the chosen one, or was Luke the chosen one?
Yes, Anakin was the chosen one.
Okay.
Because Anakin brought balance to the Force. He was the one who killed Sidious.
Or was Palpatine the chosen one, since he created Anakin and Anakin created Luke?
Well, I'm going to go off George Lucas's original version of that whole ideal, and I'm going to say no.
Yeah, because whenever the original three were created...
That was obviously not the intention. Anakin was supposed to be a Jesus figure. That's why he came from nothing.
Right.
So, the little bit that they've done with the comic there, that was a spoiler, by the way. Fuck.
Nah, whatever.
They already know.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck you, the one person.
Don't talk to my mom like that.
Mom. Anyway, that does kind of ruin the whole roundabout aspect of the Chosen One a bit.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is now that they've extended it to another trilogy, now Anakin wasn't even the chosen one, because it's still going on.
Well, it's always going to go on. You're never going to have one monumental event that totally wipes out all evil in the galaxy. There's still going to be conflict, but at that time... He did balance the Force by, one, getting rid of the Jedi Order and then getting rid of the Sith.
Which is why it should have been the prequels, the original three. Then they should have jumped forward 10,000 years.
I don't know about 10,000 because...
Well, just any large amount of time. Because then you could say Anakin was the person to... Because nothing will ever stay in balance forever.
It is still in balance. The Jedi are not back. The Sith are not back. Snoke was not a Sith.
Unless Palpatine's still alive.
Again, that jury's still out on how that's going to be. So right now, let's just not take that into...
So what makes you a Sith? Why wasn't Kylo a Sith?
It's all about the Order. Mm-hmm. The Sith You can't carry a red lightsaber and use the dark side and be called a Sith.
Right.
The Sith were a specific set of dark side users that were incredibly powerful, had a lot of ancient teachings, and followed the rule of two for the most part.
Right.
That was not Snoke. Snoke was just a powerful dark side user. Kylo Ren was, because of being trained by Snoke, just a dark side user. But, like Snoke said, darkness rises and light to meet it. It's still in balance. We got Kylo, the light gave us Rey. It's still in balance. That hasn't changed. Before Order 66, before the death of Palpatine, the universe was in an imbalance. The light had too much power.
So how do you explain how Luke is training all these Force users? Because Luke should have been that version, whatever version of a Jedi Knight after, Order 66.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to bring back the Jedi. Yeah.
So are you saying
but
that
he
since there was a Luke, that's where the Kylo came in? And once Luke gave up and stopped using the Force, that's where Rey came in? Because you already had an opposition to Kylo with Luke.
Unless Luke wasn't... Originally, Luke wasn't in opposition to Kylo. I'd say the biggest opposition to Luke was Snoke. Now both are dead.
Yeah. Okay. See, I guess what I was thinking was that you had Luke, who was training people to use the light side of the Force. Mm-hmm. So then Kylo gets corrupted. Well,
Kylo got corrupted because of Snoke.
Right. But Kylo's corrupted. He was supposed to be the opposite to Luke. Luke shuts himself off from the Force. Mm-hmm. And since he shut himself off from the Force, that's where we get Rey.
But Rey was rising in response to Kylo.
Right.
Snoke, I think, probably rose in response to Luke.
Okay, so you think no matter what, we would have gotten a Rey.
Yeah. And again, that was the great thing about Rey's parents being nobodies.
Right.
Anybody.
Well, because Anakin's parents were nobodies.
Parent. Yeah, she was a slave on Tatooine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all fits, really, when you look at it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people out there not willing to dive deep. They want, and that's the problem, is they want surface level. They want to be spoon-fed rather than nuanced.
That's the way it is with pretty much all entertainment these days. So, yeah.
How long will they continue to make Star Wars movies?
Well, we thought we were going to be getting one every year, but now apparently after Rise of Skywalker, they're going to take a little break.
Oh, so, who would have thought?
I know, right? So, I don't know. See, the thing was, if they had just done it all, if they had been... Which, I mean, really, they were doing things fine up to The Last Jedi. I'm not saying The Last Jedi was perfect. I enjoyed it, but there were some things wrong with that film.
Right.
And right up until that point, if they had just kept on doing what they were doing, they could have been putting out a movie every year, or just like Marvel does.
Yeah, there's a difference between fixing your mistakes from the previous movie and saying, "Yes, Master, we'll change it." Mm-hmm. I mean, the truth is, Disney could make any Star Wars they want. You slap Star Wars on it, people go see it. I mean, it's guaranteed money almost.
Pretty much.
And for them to bend to the will of these people, it boggles my mind when they could literally just say, you know what, we don't care what you think.
And that's what
we're going to keep doing.
That's what George Lucas did.
Yeah.
Even after Phantom Menace got crapped on, even Attack of the Clones got crapped on, he still followed through, and it's a very coherent story.
Right.
There were minor changes to it, like obviously Episode 2 had a lot less Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And Episode 3 improved upon Anakin and Padme's dialogue. I'm not saying it was a big improvement, but it was there.
Yeah.
But overall, he kept the same overall story because he was not afraid to stand against the will of a bunch of fucking entitled assholes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and honestly, we should probably stop saying Disney with this because Disney just owns them. They aren't the ones making them.
Right.
Whoever's in charge over at Star Wars Incorporated, they're the ones making these decisions, and I think they're more concerned with making money than they are telling a coherent story. So they see all these people saying they're not going to see the next movie because of blah, 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 and they want to appease them.
Right.
They don't want to appease their desire to tell a good story.
But where a movie really makes its money is on the repeats.
Yeah.
So you make a good movie that you want to make, and you make sure that it's so good that the people who don't show up because they want to pout, because it's not what they wanted, then, okay, I don't care about you. Right? You are, even if you're 25% of my audience, I can make a movie that the other 75% will see 3 times. And then
Infinity War.
Right.
I saw it 3 times.
I mean, it's...
Seen it again Wednesday.
It's great. Are you going to watch the 20-hour? Do you see that? The Warrens,
like all of the movies?
The Warrens running a 20-hour marathon.
That's going to be an oof for me, dog.
20 hours.
It's a lot of movies. If I were a god, I probably would do it, but I'm only human. Would be nice, though.
Do you think they'll reboot?
Marvel?
No. Star Wars.
Fuck. How would you even reboot Star Wars?
You wait 5 years and say, Episode 1.
But that's different. Like, other things that have been rebooted, like Spider-Man, like Transformers now.
Like Spider-Man.
Like Spider-Man.
Like Spider-Man.
But really, it's because the reason they had to do that was because at some point it turned into a disaster. Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, even though I do love parts of that movie. The Last Night. At that point, the franchise was running into the ground. It's time to redo it. Star Wars is not running into the ground.
Right.
And not yet anyway, not at this very point in time. And even then, even if it was, where the fuck would you start? How can you tell a different story than what we've already got with... You can do that with, like, Star Trek,
Right.
which was fine. I enjoyed 2 out of 3. Beyond was okay. Into Darkness was incredible, and the first one was okay. But how do you do that with something as much mythology and belovedness as Star Wars?
Right. What Star Trek did well was that they would do 3 movie bursts, and they were all from different times. It wasn't the same 3 movies, the same 3 movies, the same. I mean, you had all different types, and they would have references and stuff like that, but it was different times, which is, I mean, that's why I'm saying that these last 3 movies should have been 100 years in the future.
Again, I don't know about 100. I think it was.
I think you
I
give.
think it was I think it was at the right point in time for it. Because we're 30 years after Endor. Something
Yeah,
like that.
I don't know.
To me, that's decent.
I think they could have gotten away with a lot more.
But then all the characters would have been dead.
Right. So then people can't complain that you didn't use their favorite character the right way.
Let's face it, we all wanted to see the original 3 come back. I loved seeing Han and Luke and Leia again. I did. I would want them to be there.
I don't know. I could have done without it. I love them. But now it's almost like that last little bit that you wish would have been has been tainted.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm mostly okay with the stuff the sequel movies have done. It's just, it's all hinging on this last movie, and I can't really make my full opinion on it until I see it as a whole.
Yeah.
Because, you know what? I looked up... Here he goes again. You should let him in. He'd be fun to have down here. I looked up some of the original Empire Strikes Back reviews. They are shockingly similar to the Last Jedi reviews.
Yeah, probably.
People just straight up did not believe that Darth Vader was Luke's father. They refused to believe it. They refused to believe it. They refused to accept it as canon. And look at it as today.
Yeah. It's one of the most quoted, incorrectly quoted
anything's ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's fact. It is embedded in there. If they were to reboot Star Wars and that wasn't the case, the world would probably explode.
Right.
Which, and again, we have to remember, we are in a time currently where this story is being formulated. We may be able to look back on it in 2 decades, 3 decades, whatever, and have just as much love for it as we do for the originals.
Right.
And for my case, the prequels.
Yeah.
We can't provide a perfectly valid opinion on it right now. Nobody can.
That's true.
Like, as a story, as a whole, it's because it's not done yet.
Right.
And that's also the thing that worries me. Because we're at a very critical point where the ending could just... It's been an hour and we haven't started talking about the comic yet. Excellent. We are so good at this. You get what I'm saying. I've said it a million times.
Right.
Bring on the comic.
Okay. So, issue 1. I'm reading through, and I love how they do the scroller just to fill you in.
Yeah, it's nice.
And let you know, like, set it up. Is it Shutoran?
Shutoran, I think. Yeah.
Shutoran. That's how I've been saying it in my head. So,
Not Shutteran.
yeah.
Fuck off.
Shooterin.
Shooter and where? The head? The ass? What?
So, these stories are written surrounding Vader so well that I oftentimes forget that the Empire even exists. Because I'm just like, oh, it's Vader doing his crazy antics again. But then you read the scroll and you're like, oh yeah, there's a galactic empire that's taking things over and
changing the shape of the galaxy itself, which
Right.
we do see a lot of that with this. With the Shutoran War, we see the Empire inflicting its will upon somebody who doesn't necessarily want it, and you get reminded, oh yeah, they're doing that with everything they touch.
Yeah. Well, and you also think about taking over a galaxy.
Palpatine was an ambitious motherfucker.
And so, I mean, think about what it would take to take over America. The amount of resources it would take.
You would need to build a wall. I'm not political.
A big one.
Yeah.
The best one.
But no, it would require a lot more anything that anybody can fathom.
Several planets worth of resources. Just to take care of this section.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's whenever you scale it up, if you wanted to control this solar system, you would have to deplete all of the resources.
Pretty much.
You would have to mine the sun.
I don't know if you can mine the sun.
Sure you can. It's the future, science.
Well, you could probably scoop the sun. No, really.
You can drink the sun.
It emits hydrogen.
You can drink
You
the
can
sun.
use hydrogen for fuel. That's a pretty big supply of hydrogen.
Yeah, it's just the heat and the nuclear fusion that you
Well,
have to
there's
worry
that.
about.
But, if I can fucking fuel scoop in my Type 10 for 10 minutes and fill a 20-ton fuel tank, I should be okay.
That's what I'm saying, science. So, Shutoran is a very Mustafar type planet.
They're industrial. They're mineral industrial.
Right, it's also a giant volcano.
Like I said, mineral industrial. They usually are.
Does Vader have some sort of lava phobia, or does the writer want us to think he does, or does every Vader writer have a thing for lava? Because it seems like this happens a lot.
Well, if I were writing this, my way would be going, okay, so we know we're going to have this war centered over a resource planet. Okay, what resource planet is anybody going to fight a war over? They're not going to fight over a fucking water planet. It's going to be a planet that has a ton of natural ores, so that means the culture that it's built upon is going to be heavily based around mining, and the planet itself is going to be ripped to shreds because they're mining the shit out of it. So what happens when you rip a planet to shreds? Lava comes out. We just create another lava planet. But it's natural. It's the way
Right.
it goes, So, but yeah, it also could be a nice callback to Mustafar at the same time because Mustafar is the same thing. It's a mining planet.
Right. I like I said, I've been reading the other ones too, and they have other. Well, they actually go back to Mustafar.
Yeah.
But it's a running theme of fire and lava and that whole. And I guess there's ways of looking at it as maybe he's got a fiery passion and whatnot, but yeah, it just seems like
It's also really fucking cool.
every Vader writer wants to add lava into his story.
Well, if you look at, I want to say it was the original script or maybe the book for the first Star Wars movie, Obi-Wan talks about how he battled Vader over a volcano. Mm-hmm. That's where all this comes from. That's where Mustafar comes from.
Right.
Which, if you think about it, is really cool because, Star Wars came out in 1977 and Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005. Mm-hmm. George Lucas was able to keep his idea of battling Vader over a volcano for that many years. Mm-hmm. As a writer, that's golden.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine holding in for all those years. So we see Vader. He lands on Shu-Torun, and he's immediately met with one of the daughters, which we had learned at the beginning. The king's kind of a dick. He's got 3 kids. Got 3 kids. Oldest son is going to take over the empire. Oldest daughter is going to take over the army. And the third daughter is going to be used for other purposes. And that's about as vague as they are, too. Yeah. It's like, you will be used for other things.
What am I going to do, Dad? Suck dicks? Tell me.
Yes.
Do you suck dicks?
So, Vader meets up with the youngest daughter, and he's carrying a gift.
May I suck your dick?
Welcome to Shu-Torun.
This is quite a welcome you've got here. I gotta come here more often.
You need to set up a vacation spot. What's your real estate market like?
Well, we have this part that's on lava, or we have this over here, it's on lava too.
This one's lava adjacent for the first 3 months of the year.
Ooh, but we have this really nice building that has an excellent view of the lava.
Do you like lava?
No. It kind of is the reason I'm in this fucking suit.
So whenever he meets this woman, he's immediately indignant. And like, I'm supposed to meet your father. And she's like,
not fucking around.
And she's like, I'll take you to my father. I'm supposed to court you and whatnot.
He does not give a shit.
Right.
The funny thing about Vader is he has the intense ability to cut through people's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like a hot knife through butter. And I wish we were all that good at it.
Yeah. Because it's also very witty.
Yeah, it is. It is. Disarming, really.
Yeah, so I'm constantly looking for the chess match. Mm-hmm. Like, everywhere. Like, everything in this story means something. He gets off with a gift. And, I mean, I put in quote, a gift, because you know it's going to either blow up or kill somebody or mean something else.
Chekhov's gun.
Right. So Trios is trying to wine and dine Vader. Plus we just had the exchange with the king and his children. The king said, "You Trios will serve another purpose." Is Gillen wanting us to think that the king is giving Trios, his daughter, to Vader?
Possibly.
Is that what he's like implying?
Sucks for her. Because
it seems like that. You will be used for other purposes.
It could be diplomatic. Didn't have to just be Vader.
It just seems like he's using her for sex.
I would fucking hope not. Ugh.
We find out later that there's other stuff going on, but it just seems like that's what the writer is alluding to.
Might be.
That it's that kind of as it.
Feel bad for Trios.
I hear he's a robot from the waist down.
He's more machine than man now, but that doesn't include his dick.
That's why he really screamed, "No!" Vader, I've saved you.
Did you save little Anakin?
But not your dick.
No.
Okay, so this has gone off the rails.
It's what we're best at.
And then I think it's almost a cute little side story. The 000. The 000 story.
Oh, I love them so much.
Because it's just a shadow, and then you see his head popping out upside down and his glowing eyes. Oh, good, they're gone.
Oh, I love those two so much. I dote on them, I really do.
And then, so 000 and BT are talking, and he goes, "No, BT, you can't just shoot everyone. We need to be subtle. Yes, I have brought all my poisons." And it really is. It's almost its own comic within the comic.
He is so HK-47, and I wish you knew what I was talking about.
You're talking about Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, but I wish you knew what I was talking about, because you never played it, right?
Mm-mm.
I wish you knew what I was talking about. See, the thing is, when they were writing HK-47 for the original game, it was just supposed to be all serious. And then it wasn't hitting with anybody.
Right.
So they just told the actor, do whatever the fuck you want. And we got was essentially an earlier version of 000.
Right.
And I'm 110% sure that 000 only is existing the way he is now because of HK-47.
Could be.
So we have them to thank.
It's also been pretty established in the Star Wars universe that droids are the comedic relief.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and this, again, I think is another nod to R2 and C-3PO, but if they said, so what if we had another R2 and C-3PO pair, but they were fucking insane?
Yeah. And it works, because this could have come off as real campy and stupid.
And it fits perfectly with Vader. If they were serving anybody else, it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
But they're serving the Lord of the Sith.
Yeah.
They're going to be covered in black paint, they're going to have glowing red eyes, and a ton of weapons and a desire to kill people.
Right.
Because you know who else has all those things?
Yeah, Afra. Oh, you meant Vader.
Yes!
Okay.
Afra with glowing red eyes, sure, why not?
Okay, so again, it's another chess move for Vader to bring these guys along. And not only that, but he hit them.
I want to know where they fit in his TIE Advanced. That
Right.
thing does not have a lot of space.
Right in the butthole. Right there. You can see that's where they're popping out of.
Oh, you might have washed that eye before you put it in. The only way I could smuggle it off of Traxia was with my...
I would have definitely washed that.
Yeah.
So,
anybody else missed the eye patch? I actually really like Thor with the eye patch.
he did look pretty cool.
I mean, he looked like Odin.
Right. So, Vader walks in with Trios, and everybody's dancing. They're waltzing.
Was this the first time we saw Vader in a dance scene? Because I was having a lot of deja vu.
I believe so.
Or did you just tell me about it before I read this?
I didn't tell you anything.
Because somewhere
about
I've seen this before. Vader getting offered a dance and just fucking losing it.
I don't know, but he seems like he hesitates here, right? All of this dancing is unnecessary.
Well, who do you think is the last person he danced with?
I don't know, but I think it was the Macarena, wasn't it?
The last person he danced with would have been his dead wife.
I know, but they did the Macarena.
I don't think so. I don't want to see that.
Okay.
Um,
What about as Vader doing it?
somehow that's a
Hey,
little better.
hey, Macarena.
When he's doing the bit where he accidentally flicks his chest switch
Yeah.
and he dies. Good job.
So, is dancing secretly Vader's kryptonite?
No, I think anything that reminds him of Padme is.
If he's attacking you and you just start dancing, he's like, no!
He fucking freezes. He doesn't know what to do. But then you better hope you land a blow, because if you don't, you're screwed.
Duffman is thrusting towards the problem.
Smash Brothers. Thanos snaps away the competition.
So Trios goes on playing to the Duke's ego. But whenever... Let's see. She's introducing everybody. And where does she go? Without such gestures, they would lean towards rebellion. Letting the Dukes feel involved in ceremonies like this is our attempt to play to their egos, to keep them compliant. Without such gestures, they would lean towards rebellion. So...
Your society sucks.
Is she talking about the Duke's ego, or is she really talking about the Empire? We have to play to your ego.
I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, maybe she was kind of throwing some shade at Vader somehow.
Right.
Or at least at the Empire. I
Right.
didn't pick up on that. That's clever.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at. But I don't know. I could just be looking into it too much.
I think you might be absolutely, because this whole comic is about relations between the Empire and Shu-Torun.
Right.
So,
But
yeah.
we also find out that the Shu-Torun are very proud people. The Ordukes, the king.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we'll bring you here. We'll feed you lobster. We'll get you a hooker, whatever you want. But all we're doing is making you feel complacent.
Right.
So that you don't hassle us.
Wouldn't you do that against the Empire? I wouldn't want to be hassled by the Empire.
Right.
If the Empire sent a delegate, especially somebody like Vader, to
Yeah.
me, I would want to make
Who's
sure
starting to make a name for himself.
Right. I would want to make sure they're very happy, because
Yeah.
I don't want to see them unhappy.
Right.
Because that would make me very unhappy.
Right.
It's politics.
So Vader says the Empire is building. it is always building. But in between building and it is always building, he kind of goes, what's with him going,
Oh, I just thought that was how they were angling his head.
he looks like he's looking down. He might be looking at her. Maybe he's trying to intimidate. But it almost seems like he's going, always building.
I mean...
You can't see his jazz hands off to the side.
I mean, I don't know. That one you may be reading too much into. I think it's just how they're drawing it.
The reason I look into that one is because so often, we really saw it in Vader Down, with a mask that shows no expression,
The slightest expression.
in everything that he does is expression.
Yeah, I took it... Okay, I guess I took the line at least more as like...
Just a line.
Trying to impress upon what's-her-fuck that the Empire is always building, and we are never going to stop needing you, so you better play along because we are always going to be here asking you for shit.
So what I took it as, that he might be ashamed of his failure.
As Anakin?
Well, I mean, as Anakin, and then he gets blamed for the Death Star blowing up, and then he gets all the shit for everything bad that's going on.
Okay, yeah, I didn't take the Death Star blowing up into account. Yeah, okay, that could be a head tilt because now they're building the Death Star too.
Well, and that's why they need a lot of this material.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that.
They're always building. If they just stop building, I wouldn't have to defend so much shit.
It didn't work the first time. Why are you doing it again, you fucking moron?
But what I also think he could be doing, because this is Vader and it's always a chess match, maybe he's acting like he's upset.
No, if he was acting like he was upset, he would talk about how Obi-Wan is holding him back and he'd throw a Hydro spanner against the back of the garage.
Okay.
And
then she'd be like,
unfair.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Are you schizo? What are you doing?
So, of course, one of the best parts of this, we have 000 back.
And that is the snazziest looking protocol droid.
Yeah, and for some reason, like, I just assumed it was a she. But something that they do in here is they refer to it as a they.
Really?
Yes. Because I even went through and I was like, do they refer to it as...
Well, droids can have male or female programming.
Right.
But this is Shutoran, so maybe they don't program them with gender. Maybe they just... Because they is the plural of it when you're regarding something like this, right?
Right. Which also shows that maybe 000 likes to dehumanize things. But 000's, I don't torture droids. I turned off its pain receptors. I'm not a savage. And then cut to this thing's head is just ripped open.
Oh, 000.
Yeah.
You brilliant fuck.
I'm not a savage.
Well, he's not, is he?
No. Well, yes. But Vader, not to be outdone by 000's funny. This guy comes up and goes, "You have to dance.
This guy is an idiot.
If you don't dance, we're going to take it as a personal affront." So then he takes him.
You know what I was thinking this morning? First thing I thought of when I got up today. I'm going to this dance. And you know what? If I just see this really tall guy in black metal armor breathing in a very intimidating way, I'm going to grab my daughter. I'm going to get in his face about it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to work out great. This guy is a fucking idiot.
So he's like, "You will dance or I'll take it as a personal affront." Vader tosses him.
I mean, I know he doesn't really know who he is, but come on!
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Vader tosses him into a wall, embarrasses him in front of everybody, which essentially kind of kicks this whole thing off.
Yeah.
And Vader says, "Do any others wish to be my partner?" I mean, holy shit. Like, it could have just been, "Get out of my face." But no, he's like, "Anybody else want to dance?"
And, oh my god. What a moment.
Yeah, and they make these giant, memorable moments. out of nothing. This was a nothing moment.
I swear to God, you told me about this before.
I don't think so.
It seems so familiar. I don't know why.
I don't think we've ever talked. The last time I read this was whenever I read the comics of it.
Right. I think you might have been talking to me about it.
Maybe, I don't know. This was a long time ago.
Because I'm pretty sure I remember this exact line.
Maybe.
I got a big sense of deja vu. That or I died and reloaded my last save and I read it again. So.
Maybe. You had a glitch in your hard drive whenever you shifted your consciousness.
I hate it when that happens.
So a giant ship crashes through the roof, and Vader's just like, "Come on, dude.
Come on.
Let me widen my stance a bit. Get ready. I know what's gonna happen." And then he's just like blocking shots with his lightsaber. He's completely unfazed by anything. Okay, an entire ship crashes through the ceiling of a citadel. And then people get out and shoot, like numerous people get out and shoot at you. And you're just like,
He's just standing there, this is nothing compared to the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Come on, guys. You can do better. Let's see.
I fought droids with more balls than you.
Yeah, all he says to Trios is, "I will see the king immediately." That's all.
He's out of patience. Like,
right, and that's all it is.
But he's done fucking around.
But he also knew this was going to happen. He knew they weren't going to go quietly.
Of course.
He knew. That's why he brought BT 000.
He's done this before.
Right. He knows what a rebellion looks like. I also think so. The king is sitting there with all of his counselors.
All the king's horses and all the king's men.
I don't see any horses, but there are definitely a lot of men. I don't know what kind of horse you'd have in lava.
A hovering metal one? Maybe?
Oh, a motorcycle that
No.
hovers.
It's not a motorcycle. There's nothing.
Hover bike.
Yeah, that's right.
I do think it's cute how the king thinks that Vader doesn't know that the king is behind this. Stupid, useless assassins. At least Vader still suspects nothing. Really? You saw him unfazed by the ship crashing through. He took out your men. He's like, "I'm ready to see the king now." What makes you think that...
Thank fuck he doesn't know.
Yeah. As it shows on the Jumbotron in the dance floor. Oh, man. That could have been close. Oh, is this thing still on? Crap.
Did you think he figured it out yet? No.
It's like the scene from Yes Man where he goes, "What? I'm not standing in line. I can see your lips moving. What?"
Oh, you see, there's this guy who looks a lot like me. Yeah, no. This entire comic is people standing up to Vader and us just looking at them going, "Really, dude?
Yeah.
Really? Are you that stupid?" And apparently they are, because they all fucking pay for it.
So the king, we finally find out what's going to happen. I had hoped it would not come to this. Trios was a good daughter. So it wasn't like, "Oh, go blow Vader." It was, you might need to be sacrificed.
Would you rather blow Vader or get sacrificed by your father in a hall of molten lava?
Lava.
Yeah.
I think they're both going to end the same way. But I'd rather lava.
Lava might be quicker.
Maybe.
I mean, do you think Vader could even get it up?
Well, it's mechanically driven, so I mean, as long as his hydraulics are primed and ready to go. So, the king's going to sacrifice his daughter to save his planet's sovereignty. So he's gonna.
What a noble father!
So he's gonna save the freedom of his planet. Is it worth it?
Let me work it. Put your name down, flip it, and reverse it. That's Missy Elliott for all you uneducated fucks out there.
All right, now we're gonna get copywritten.
Hey, we already took away your monetization.
That's
earlier
right.
by talking about
Now
how
I'm gonna
to
get a
censor
strike.
people.
I'm gonna get a hard strike. No, but it is that sacrifice worth it?
Probably from his point of view.
Okay, how much would you sacrifice for your freedom?
That's a quote from something.
From every veterans commercial.
True, yeah. Probably not my daughter.
For your own freedom.
Yeah, probably not my daughter.
What about your planet's freedom?
Depends on how much I like the planet
And your daughter?
and my daughter.
Because he's not offering to sacrifice the other two.
Right.
He's just offering to sacrifice her.
Well, you can always make more daughters. You can't make a whole new planet. Right?
I don't know what the technology's capable of here. No, but, okay, so this makes him seem more like money motivated.
Well,
So
he's politically motivated, so of course he's money motivated.
right now, okay, so let's say his intentions were pure. We know they're not. He's getting pressure from the Dukes. He wants to make money. He wants to, do all this stuff that's not necessarily pure of heart. But let's say that your intentions are pure. How much can you sacrifice before you become a monster?
Well, you're sacrificing your daughter, you're definitely a monster.
Okay, but even still, like I said, money has no play in this. It's just, let's say this is something that the Empire doesn't want.
Right.
They just decided, you're mine. And this planet said, no, you're not going to take us. We are a free planet. We will not be ruled by anybody. We're not hurting anybody. We're not doing anything. How much can you sacrifice? Can you sacrifice your daughter and not be a monster?
No, you would be a monster. We don't trade lives, Vision.
Right, but that's a very narrow way of looking at it.
No, it's narrow, yeah, but sometimes you do monstrous things for the better of all, or the better of at least your people.
Okay, so that brings up a question. Is it okay to become a monster?
I mean, it's never okay, but if you sometimes consider the alternative, it's a little more okay.
Okay, so would you become a monster and take that on your conscience and go down in history as a monster if it meant that your planet would have a future to look back on you as a monster?
Ideally, yeah. I mean, I'm not a political leader, so I couldn't say that from my perspective, but ideally, yes. Because if you are that kind of ruler and you care that much about your people and their future, yeah, you would do it. No question.
Yeah, these 3 panels were extremely heavy. And, I spent a lot of time thinking about this topic. Whenever I wrote these questions. And then immediately everything was unraveled when 000 walks up and goes, "Fascinating, Your Majesty. I find a refreshing beverage is ideal when watching tragic accidents." So you have 3 solid panels of this heart-wrenching exchange of she was a good daughter. I'm going to sacrifice. And so you're going through this emotion of holy shit, he's going to kill his daughter just so that he can keep making money. And then 000's want a drink? Which you know what he's doing. He said he brought poison.
Poisons, yeah. You never accept a drink from 000.
I find a refreshing beverage is ideal when watching tragic accidents.
Who the fuck let that protocol droid in here anyway? Why does he have the astromech with him? And nobody thought to question that.
So,
and it cost them all dearly.
Why we see Vader? Why is Vader being so nice to Trios?
He has plans for her, obviously.
Right, but he knows that she's going to be sacrificed.
Right.
He knows this play. He's
probably because he's been that.
He's
play.
4 moves ahead every time.
He's been that play.
Is it just so Vader can bring her close?
I mean, that's probably part of it. He wants to use her.
So that she's more willing to accept him?
Well, she was doing the same thing to him. Remember?
That is true.
Vader can play this game too.
But this is a lot different.
It's different, but it's
he's essentially asking her to forsake her father.
Yeah, but he's still buttering her up.
Oh, well, I mean, she is attractive. Who wouldn't butter her up?
If you will stand still for a moment.
Yeah, next we watch Kieran Gillen's video, and it's Trios was 13 in this comic.
Yeah, she was 13 and you're all in jail.
I wrote her as a 13-year-old, sir.
Look, I know she's 13, but she looks 20, and that was anime.
Yeah. So Vader says she's willing to sacrifice for the greater good. He's this is a kind of a proud moment that he has of her. Good on you. I've got a little bit of respect for you now. Because she's willing to go through this. And so he's like, "You are an admirable youth. Your father must be proud." And she goes, "You would be surprised, Lord Vader. And then, door seal. And he goes, your father should be proud. Because even he knows that the dad, she's disposable. And he's like, no, he should be proud. Not like, he should be proud of you. Like, he knows that he's not proud of her. And I think this is kind of that moment where she's like, yeah, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah. I think at that point she kind of got more respect for Vader than for her father. Now, here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know. Did they have no fucking idea that Vader owns a lightsaber?
No.
They didn't know that?
Okay, but also remember, this is the Empire.
I know. I know.
You could have planets that went millennia without ever knowing what a Jedi was.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny because you put the guy
every time.
You put the guy in a tomb and he's got the perfect thing to cut himself out with. Your plan sucks.
Yeah.
Which is why they're dead now. But.
So Vader says you show an admirable willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. Is he saying that the Empire is not good?
Did Vader ever like the Empire?
Yeah, whenever he was Anakin.
But does he like it now that it's here as Vader?
I don't know. He wants it.
But does he like it?
They never say.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what Vader could also be saying is that you are going to sacrifice your family for the greater good of the Empire. You're going to sacrifice all your beliefs. You're going to sacrifice all of your connections, all of your ties. You're going to sacrifice everything that you used to be, Anakin, and you are going to become something for the greater good. So maybe he has absolute faith in the Empire.
Could be as well. Could be taken in a couple of different ways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what you can do with a robotic dick?
You can fuck everybody.
In a lot of different ways.
Fuck the whole world for 72 hours.
So, what's cracking me up, and you talked about it a little bit earlier, 000 and BT just showed up.
Well,
and they've just been sitting here offering him drinks.
But that's the thing. You know why they can do it? Because they're droids. And protocol droids and astromech droids would be a common sight in any palace.
Right, but black ones? How often does he have both of those coming up and saying, oh, I love a drink after a tragic event?
Why is it the king's job to know what color of protocol droids his palace has? Maybe they're new models. And hey, you know what? If I got a new model of protocol droid, the first thing I'd want to do is walk up to me and offer a drink. Because that's what they're supposed to do.
During a tragic event.
They're supposed to make me happy.
I'm told
to serve me.
I'm told on a bad day, a relaxing drink can be a real tonic.
Oh, it's a tonic, all right.
This is not a time for drinks, and he throws it. And this is where he's like, oh, BT, why do the fleshy ones make everything so difficult? I was trying to be subtle.
His complete disregard for how anybody cares about it is hilarious.
And then you can see, it's funny because BT just bleeps. That's all he does. But you know exactly what he says because Triple Z goes, oh, very well, you win. They did spill my drinks. And we can guess. Cut away. Trios pulls the gun on Vader. Vader sacrifices yet another hand to the Star Wars god. Still holding the gun. And then they break into the chamber. Oh no! There's been a terrible accident. Mass heart attacks. How do you switch so seamlessly between a woman getting her hand cut off trying to defend her world and then
mass heart attacks? It's Star Wars. That's how.
Jesus, this is the best comic ever.
I know. It's written so well.
Oh goodness. So then after we find out the king's dead and everything. Vader goes, well, I guess this gift is yours. And he gives her a box of Alderaan. He's just carrying rocks that are the remnants of Alderaan. Chess move. Check. Fucking mate. Here's Alderaan. This, as a princess, you served your father. As a queen, you will serve your people. This is a small reminder of what happens to worlds who resist the Emperor.
That's a power move. That's such a power move.
But he brought it with him.
He was going to give it to the king or somebody.
Oh no, I think he was well aware that the king would not be alive to take this.
He knew he was going to give it to somebody.
Which is why 000 was constantly trying to poison him. Mm-hmm. He knew that she was the weak link. He knew the power structure. He knew he had done his research to figure out, hey, he treats his youngest daughter like shit. Mm-hmm. So, and then he puts the crown on her head.
And it all worked.
So...
yeah, we just blew up this planet.
Yeah.
It'll happen to you, too, if you don't fall in line. What a power move!
Yeah.
My God.
So, what should Trios do now that she's queen?
Whatever Vader says.
Yeah, I mean, the king wanted to stay loyal, but was pressured by the dukes. Mm-hmm. Should she continue that path and resist and lose everything, but, die fighting for freedom? Or should she serve what's best for her people and keep them alive?
Well, let's see. He just showed her a piece of a planet that was destroyed for resisting and aiding and abetting the enemy. So she's probably thinking, okay, if I don't do what he says, he will have another rock to add to his collection. I think I'm going to follow the guy in the black armor.
But do not forget whom you serve. So, if a queen has to serve, is she really a queen?
Sure. The queen of that planet.
Right, but a queen means that you have absolute authority.
Over that planet.
But it's not absolute authority.
Well,
she can't rule the planet as she wishes.
Well, it's probably more like just a title.
Yeah. All right. On to issue 2.
After, 2 hours? Where are we at?
142. So we start issue 2 with your favorite character being tossed at the feet of Palpatine. The remnants of General Carbon. How crushed were you when you saw this?
Crushed? Not as much as Carbon was.
He was more dismembered.
True. I was happy to see that they reminded us of his death, though. Because that's another power move.
Yeah. You've been seeking Commander Carbon. I found him. And he opens up this little crate and he just falls out.
I was happy to see that guy die because that was a dumb fucking idea. And maybe that was the point.
Well, I think that is the point, is to show Palpatine how stupid these ideas are. I mean, this
Put
is...
Admiral Akbar's head on General Grievous.
Yeah. This is Grievous Bar.
It's a trap, General Kenobi.
Akvis? Okay, so Vader also lets Palpatine know that he knows what's up. Listen, if you're going to have these people try to kill me, at least give me somebody who's a challenge. And then Grievous even makes that face like, ooh.
You mean Palpatine?
Yeah. Palpatine. Sorry, you had me stuck on Grievous.
I like that noise. Ooh.
These are lightsaber wounds, Vader. You wish me to prove myself? Give me a fight worthy of my time.
I like that. These are lightsaber wounds. Yeah, what did you expect? Blasters are clumsy.
Yeah.
And uncivilized and random.
Give me a fight worthy of my time. Is there a fight worthy of his time other than Palpatine?
Ooh. Luke.
Well, Luke's not Luke yet.
Right.
I mean, he is, but he's not.
Maybe that was a challenge. Maybe a little challenge to Palpatine.
Yeah.
If you want me dead, come try it yourself.
Right.
Stop sending assassins.
Stop trying to kill me with assassins.
It's like it's Vader. Like he always wants. He says, "Stop fucking around."
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for it, and I don't like doing it.
Right. But Palpatine's now openly throwing foes at Vader. Mm-hmm. And he says, "I am the master." Because he goes, "Why are you doing this?" He goes, "Because I am me and you are my student. I'm the master, you're the student. You do whatever I want you to do." So, I mean, it's also another power move. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we know anything about Palpatine, he's a better chess player than anybody else.
True.
He took over the galaxy with not a single army to his name. Mm-hmm. I mean, first he took over the Senate, and then the army was his.
He took over the Senate, and then he became the Senate.
And the Senate became him.
I am the Senate.
And an overactor. So, it is good training, though.
Darth is awesome, and you know it.
It was an awesome Palpatine. I liked it.
You know what's funny is when they showed the trailer at the Star Wars Celebration for the first time, at the end of it, everybody's nerding out over the Palpatine laugh. Ian McDiarmid is there, stands up, grabs a mic, and says, "Roll it again."
Really?
It actually happened. Look it up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So this, I mean, even if Palpatine's just being a dick, it still follows the rule of 2. Mm-hmm. If you can't make it, then you're not number 2. Mm-hmm.
And if I can't make it, then I'm not number 1.
Right.
But I am making it, so.
So Vader has to fight a war, play politics, and now he has to watch his back. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what better training to become a Sith Lord?
He already wanted somebody different anyway. He wanted Luke.
Right.
That's
true.
Luke was the other possible potential to be a new Vader.
Right, but even if Vader killed Luke, then, I mean, Palpatine's just like, all right, well, then you're still my dude. I mean, either way, it's a win-win for Palpatine,
golden, yeah.
Unless he dies. But then even that he's okay with because he knows it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason a Sith Lord takes on an apprentice is to eventually train him to kill me. Mm-hmm. No Sith Lord dies of old age. At least not that I think. Or that
I don't
I've
think
seen.
they're having one, no.
All right, so we're back at Shao Turan, and if the Barons are so strong, it's amazing that Trios hasn't been assassinated yet. Because they talk about, so I don't know how much you know about like Roman history or anything, but the way the Senate worked was I was rich and I had an army that would fight for me.
Right.
And you're rich and you have an army that fights for you, and they're rich and so on. Everybody has their own army.
Right.
And your stature in the Senate was based on how big your army was, because then the Roman Empire could call upon you to go fight a bigger war.
Right.
So we would all get together and we would vote, hey, the Gauls are being a big problem. We need you to take your army. We'll pay you. So then you go outside the city gates, you fight, and then you come back. And whenever you reach the city gates again, you have to surrender your army. They have to dismiss, and then you can come back in the city. And it seems like that's what's going on here. Mm-hmm. Is that you have all these super rich people that have all their own armies, which you would have to have as a planet. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that I have a hard time wrapping my mind around, is because I think of things as a country. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how are these guys just sitting here fighting all this time? But it's a whole planet. Mm-hmm. So you have like Africa's fighting, and Australia's fighting, and Europe's fighting, and Russia's fighting, and then she's trying to hold it all together.
Right.
But then that even enforces that, because I'm saying, how does an entire planet that wants you dead not have you dead? Other than the fact that Vader's standing right next to her.
I'm sure there's other people on her side.
Well, yeah, she has her army, plus she has the Imperials.
Well, I'm sure there might be, maybe there are other Ore Dukes out there that don't want her dead.
Right.
And would fight somehow to protect her.
So this splash page of like the giant digger is amazing.
It prefers to be called African American.
Jesus.
You can't just go around saying that, man. What are you thinking?
The ore retriever.
That's better.
God. So,
Was that too much?
we'll see. I'm just glad nobody watches this. So the Void Gazer lady with all the little
The balls?
the viewing
The
balls.
lady with the balls.
Yeah. She has a trap set up. Again, Vader knew this was going to happen. And they drop the roof in on that giant piece of machinery. And up to that point, everyone's like, we can't win. This thing's too powerful. It's like a
Vader
fortress. Yeah, and it's like, all right, hit the switch. And then they pour it on. But then the trio's just like, it was irreplaceable. It'll never be productive again. And all Vader has to say is like, it will never rebel again.
He ain't wrong.
He takes a zero fucks given approach to everything. Like, why do I care?
Mm-hmm.
Build another one.
I mean, it's kind of his job.
Okay, so, let's see. There's a section in here where he says, if they do not learn their lesson, then we will repeat the lesson until they learn. Mm-hmm. I feel like this isn't only meant for the Barons. It's also meant for Silo and the twins.
Oh, I believe it.
Because we find out that they are also there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I don't want to spoil what's coming next, so I'll just keep that to myself.
Right.
But, Vader knows why the twins and why Silo are there. He knows why Void Gazer's there, but Void Gazer seems to not care about anything except what she's supposed to do. Like, she hasn't played any role in anything other than being a useful tool to, bury things in lava.
Right.
But the other three have openly said, Vader, we hate you.
Right.
I'm also really enjoying that tension. The fact that Vader knows, the fact that they know.
Everybody knows, but nobody can do anything about it right now.
Right. And nobody can really trust each other. You're just kind of waiting on that other shoe to drop. Mm-hmm. So, for Vader, this isn't just a war that needs to be won. Or this is just a war that needs to be won no matter the cost. Mm-hmm. Which is why he's like, yeah, I'll blow up the freaking planet if I need to. Like, your wants and needs about the planet mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
Because at this point, too, everybody knows what's going on this planet. If Vader loses, well, then other people are going to start rebelling. If Vader wins, then he's just made an example out of these guys.
Right.
So he has to win it.
Right.
But it's harder for Trios because she might lose everything.
Yeah, it's her planet.
Yeah, and if the planet blows up, what is she going to do after that?
She'll probably fucking die.
I mean, yeah. It's a real... I think the writer did a very good job of kind of putting you in this position of you want Vader to win, but you also need him to win in such a way that she doesn't lose everything.
Right.
Because right now she's still fairly weak. I mean, she doesn't really...
Her hand chopped off.
Well, that too. But,
That's the hand I jacked it with, man. Come on.
Well, I don't think she did. But...
She jilled.
So, Vader and Trios have like an altercation where she questions him in front of people, and he questions her, and she goes, "You can't do that. I'll do whatever you want, but just don't question me because you're gonna undermine yourself. You're gonna show my people that I'm not in charge, and they're not gonna go for that." And so he goes, "All right, I won't question you. You don't question me. It's a deal. No, it is simply how it will be." Like, who writes this? I mean, I know who writes it, but what kind of cocaine-riddled fever dream is he waking up from? He's like, there's my line. I got it. Right there.
Whatever he's doing, he needs to keep doing it. He's got his good shit.
But also, why does Vader have to be so difficult? Like, he can't just be like, okay, listen.
Because even though he just struck a deal that they won't question each other, he also has to show that he's still in charge.
Right, but everything is a power struggle. Like, he has to establish dominance in everything.
Well, yeah, because if you were to lose it for 1 second, that could mean horrible things for what he needs.
Right, but does he need to establish dominance over her? Because he's already got it. He killed her whole family.
Right, but he could lose it. If he started treating her on an equal level, that would give her grounds to push back.
Right.
He must continue asserting dominance.
And he could have done that and still said, fine. I won't question you. You don't question me. Deal. But he won't even say it's a deal.
Right, because if he said that, it wouldn't give her grounds immediately, but it would open the window of possibilities. You have something like that, you have to keep grinding your boot into the ground. You let up for 1 second, that gives him a chance to spring back.
Right.
I've written tyrants. That's how it is.
Yeah. And so...
Because hope is a dangerous weapon. It is.
Yeah. You find out that Aphra is alive and somewhere. And that Vader wants her dead or alive. So this really kind of throws a monkey wrench in the whole, well, maybe he likes her. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously he still might like her. But
he's got to,
she worries him. Mm-hmm. This is the first time we've seen him scared.
Because she could expose him.
She is everything.
She is the weak link.
Right. And what do you do with weak links?
Break them.
You strengthen them. I mean...
Or break them. He's either going to
You die by them.
Right. He's going to either bring her back and get it under control again, or worst case scenario, if he can't get her back, he's going to kill her before she can tell anybody anything.
Yeah. One issue that I've always had with the Star Wars universe is why the fuck they don't have high-def holograms.
Because you couldn't in the 70s. And
Fix it!
Everything must follow.
Luke can send an astral projection of himself halfway across the universe.
That's the Force. The Force is not hologram technology.
Get a Force user, put a plug in him, and hook him up to the TV.
But it killed him.
No.
It killed him, and he was the only one who could do it besides Snoke.
Right, so you just have one for each household. And then you're not projecting across the universe. Also, I mean, they're all blurry, they're all blue.
It's iconic.
I get it, but it's annoying.
Oh, sure it is, but it's also iconic.
Because they're all real shitty quality. Both in audio and visual.
It's iconic.
Fix the iconic part.
Yeah, but then you get death threats.
Make it better.
You want to get the death threats? Because that's how you get the death threats.
Yeah, send death threats. I don't care. If I was making this kind of money, yeah, right. Come at me, bro. So, one of the barons says, the king serves us. We protect him. What kind of system is that? What kind
is this, high school?
What kind of functioning system would that create?
One where the king is very dependent upon his subjects.
As a king, why would you let your kingdom get like that? That's a bad king.
Everybody gets along, I would think.
Yeah, but you have to dance with people when they tell you to dance.
I don't know.
You know what this kind of king makes? It makes people ballsy enough to walk up to Vader and demand that he dance.
Well, they learn their lesson real quick, so not terribly.
Oh yeah, I mean. So we also find out there's a little tidbit about what they've been mining, and they're mining adamantine. Mm-hmm. Is this a version of adamantium?
Possibly.
Is this the Wolverine origin story?
The strongest metal in the world. And they used it to build a frisbee.
That's vibranium.
Same fucking thing, and we all know it.
Until You're not going to make Wolverine's bones out of vibranium.
Yeah, you are.
No,
They'll
you're
find
making
a
them
way.
out of adamantium.
It could work.
You want to talk about death threats. Change Wolverine's bones to vibranium.
They already changed the shield to vibranium.
It's always been vibranium.
No,
Yeah.
vibranium wasn't vibranium created for the MCU?
Mm-mm.
Are you sure?
Yep. You have several different types of vibranium. Vibranium vibrates at frequencies that reflect impact. Adamantium is just super strong.
Oh.
There's no... Is that what you saw?
No, it was bigger.
Maybe the bigger one will eat that one.
Always a bigger fish.
Yeah. So, I think we're in agreement that this is the Wolverine origin story.
Naturally. This is the beginning as a weapon.
The timeline follows.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the smallest issue right
Or Thanos snapped his fingers, pulled adamantine through into the MCU. It crash landed, and that's where we get it.
I think you're onto something.
I figured it out. Got it. Boom.
So,
Disney hit me up.
yeah, he'll do this for free.
Yeah. Well, not for free.
Too late.
Just a couple million. Enough to get, out of my jobs and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm so glad they didn't go with something stupid, though. Like
Transformium.
Star Warsium.
Unobtainium.
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 You know what's bad?
Oh.
Unobtainium has been used in more than one movie.
I believe it.
Did you ever see The Core?
No.
That's what they used.
Unobtainium.
Now, he explained it better than they did. He was like, yeah, I created a new molecule that everybody said that I wouldn't be able to, and they thought I was crazy whenever I said that I had done it. I call it unobtainium. And that's what they used to core, drill to the center of the earth with. Mm-hmm. So it had a better story.
The new element that Tony Stark invents in Iron Man 2, there was somewhere, some additional info. He lobbied to call it badassium.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a good name for it.
Oh, totally. Tastes like coconut. Metal. Oh, yeah! That's on Hulu, by the way. It's the only Marvel movie on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
it's worth a second watch.
This badass lava submarine bursts
The lava
forth.
submarine was fucking cool.
Yes, all the wings on it.
How is it made?
I don't know, but if those are cannons, I don't understand how they work. If you're in lava,
maybe they're like hard points in Elite Dangerous. They
okay,
retract and deploy.
It could be almost like curb feelers. Yeah. Bounce off walls and shit.
Yeah, maybe.
Or it could just be used whenever they're above. Everything in Star Wars hovers, so it might not need to stay in lava.
That's true.
So who knows? But this thing comes up, and I guess it's a badass ship because everybody's freaking out. It's firing on the Citadel, which we find out is a holy temple.
Right.
So now the Ordukes are firing on holy temples, meaning that they don't really care much for their planet. They don't really. All they're looking for is money.
Right.
Which also makes us not feel bad whenever Vader tries to take over a sovereign nation. It really is brilliant how the writer does that. You have people who are supposed to be the good guys, and yet you're hoping that they lose because they're dicks. And that's what you have to do.
But why are they supposed to be the good guys? Because they go up against the Empire?
Because
Couldn't it be just too bad he's fighting?
Because they're trying to stay sovereign.
So that doesn't make him good.
It does. If you're a free person and you're fighting somebody who's trying to take your freedom, then you are the one that's in the right.
Yeah, but if you use your freedom to be an asshole...
It doesn't matter what I use my freedom to be, as long as I'm not using my freedom to take other people's freedom.
I disagree. Sometimes taking freedom can be a good thing. And I'm mostly saying that because I fought with the Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout.
Other than if you have done something to take somebody else's freedom, I don't think your freedoms should ever be removed.
Well, unless you need protection from super mutants and ghouls, because let me tell you, as a knight of the Brotherhood and a Sentinel, I took a lot of people's freedoms.
Well, I don't think there's any ghouls
But
in here.
they were safer because of it.
Right. I get that. And that's essentially, that's every government ever. That's our government. We give up a certain amount of freedom so that we have protection and certain qualities to our country.
Yeah, but Orange Man bad.
Yes, Orange Man,
Orange
very
Man
bad. I don't like him so much that I won't even eat oranges.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
Fuck you, man. So the funniest part of this whole thing, and I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but the Citadel's getting fired upon. She's freaking out. She's like, how could they do this? Somebody comes up. Queen, I've got an escape pod. Come on, I have to protect you. And Vader just goes, nope, and throws him into the lava. The only thing this guy tried to do was help them. And he's like, fuck you, dude. There is no escape. You're taking a lava.
Wait, did he really throw him into
Yes!
the lava?
There's no way he's anywhere but lava right there.
I think not. And that's how your life ends.
And he could have just said no. And the guy would have been like, all right, dude, whatever. I'm backing up. Nope.
So you know what that's like? That's like, okay, I get a new job at Bye Bye Baby as Autumn's bodyguard.
Yeah.
Autumn is the boss of the store. And one day, Autumn's boss shows up, right?
Yeah.
And they're there, they're talking about something, and then robbers come up to the store, and they start pointing their guns at people. And I go up to Autumn and her boss, and I say, Autumn, it's my job to get you out of here. This is what you appointed me to do. Autumn's boss turns around and shoots him in the face.
It says, no, we have to fight.
That's what that's like. That would suck. That's how your life ends.
It's the biggest overreaction to anything ever.
Just fucking kill somebody.
He could have punched him, and it would have been less of an
He
overreaction.
just threw him into the lava. I think not.
God, it's probably the funniest moment in this entire comic.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you in particular.
It would have been something else if he was like, Vader, you did this. We have to escape, Queen. And then he starts firing on Vader. No, all he said was, we have to get out of here.
He doesn't give a fuck about Vader. He's just doing his job trying to get the Queen out of there. He doesn't care about Vader one way or another. He just fucking dies.
And he's loyal to the Queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think not. We're not bashing it, really. We're laughing with you.
So then, even worse than that, they jump into the ship. And they take it somewhere. They take it over to the giant submarine. He could have just told the guy, no, I have a plan. And then told the guy
Fire up the ship, we'll take it to the submarine, and everything will be okay.
Right.
Or
You
I
go
think not.
We're going to reenact that scene from Lord of the Rings where you dive in for the ring. Except you didn't dive. I threw you.
And there is no ring.
So they fly over to the submarine.
Hey, dude, you know Gollum?
Yeah. Vader and the twins jump onto the ship. And Vader cuts his way in because he has a lightsaber. And
Nobody seems to plan on it. It's been well established that he has a lightsaber.
so
Nobody seems to care.
then he's like, obviously, the easiest way to take down a submarine is to cut holes in it.
Right.
And let whatever's outside come inside.
Ideally.
That just happens to be lava.
Yeah.
So he's like, we're going to fill this thing up with lava. And the twins are like, well, how are we going to escape? By leaving the ship swiftly.
By getting the fuck out.
Yeah.
Translation.
This,
I mean, he's right.
yeah. This burn was brought to you by Darth Vader. It's...
He should say that to the rest of the crew of the ship before they are engulfed in lava. That'll burn him.
Yeah. It's just...
We asked for a burn, not a cremation.
This has been just chocked full of comedy gold. That's really what they're mining on this planet.
That's fine with me. It's one hell of a read.
So, was Vader hoping that they would have died in the submarine? because he kind of just does his thing and then takes off, and they happen to follow.
You know,
Or
if they did, great. If not, oh well.
Or is he doing like Palpatine and hoping that they live to prove that they're worthy?
Could be that too.
I mean,
if they die, great. They weren't worthy. If they live, okay, don't worry. They might be worthy of a fight.
right. So we also see that Trios is kind of starting to play chess when one of her guys comes up and he's like, you have to stop. You have to stop this. We've got to get you out of here.
So she throws him into the lava and says, I think not.
Yeah.
She's picking up real quick.
Queen, I have a note for you. I think not. But all he's trying to do is protect himself and saying, listen, you're not a warrior. You don't need to be involved in these silly adventures. Now, Vader just got called silly, and all he did was pull his lightsaber out. The other guy tried to save her and got less of a punishment.
He'd already filled his quota for the day.
Oh, goodness.
His quota of throwing people into lava. He filled that when he cut holes in the submarine.
Yeah.
Now he didn't have to anymore.
So, but we also see Trios go, because he pulls it out. He goes, your words put you in greater danger than the Queen ever was. And she goes, thank you, Lord Vader. I'm sure Julie was merely speaking in high spirits. But she says she was in no danger. She's using them firing on the Citadel as proof that she's in the right, that she's doing what's supposed to, that the Empire's good. Mm-hmm. So this is a big political spin for her. But she's also playing a little bit of chess here with, Vader. Listen, Vader, we agreed. You will not take over in front of my people. Mm-hmm. I can handle my people. And, I mean, the Ore Barons have made their positions clear. We must repeat our lesson. So is he saying that about the Oil Barons, or is he saying that about her?
If I know Vader, probably both.
He does like it both ways. We cut to Silo in his tube. Also, remember, Wolverine Origins. He's got a tube full of people. Wolverine. It's Wolverine. That's
Naturally.
Wolverine. It's got to be.
Let me tell you something. The Kaminoans were breeding clones. They were growing babies in tubes. It's Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
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 Yep.
Yep. Called
It's definitely him.
Yep.
Definitely Wolverine.
When you post, when a bunch of people copy and paste a meme.
That's going to be...
When you put a meme online and a bunch of people copy and paste it, your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
It's Wolverine.
Naturally.
Yeah, that's gonna be my clickbait tag.
Have you seen
For
Chef?
this. Yeah. Do you like Chef?
You like?
You like Chef?
I saw Chef. I'm pretty sure it was an episode of Friends.
That's gonna be my clickbait tag though. Star Wars creates Wolverine.
There you go. We're calling it now.
There you go. I'm telling you, Thanos snaps his fingers. It pulled because he has the time stone. He has the space stone. So even if this is in another time or space, he clicks his finger, snaps his fingers. All he did was switch places.
You know the biggest problem with the snap?
What?
How?
How did he snap?
He's got a fucking metal glove on.
Did he snap with his metal glove?
Yeah, he had to. It's
Why
the
can't?
Infinity Gauntlet.
But all he has to do is clench that fist.
Right, but if you watch the movie, he lifted up the Infinity Gauntlet and snapped it.
Did it make that sound?
Yeah. Should we watch it?
No.
Because you know I'm right.
I believe you. I didn't pay that much attention to it. I was so engrossed in the movie.
It actually snapped.
Maybe he's got those special sensors on the pad so that he can still use his smartphone.
Or maybe he just used the fucking reality stone because reality can be whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
And he wanted to snap.
This will make a snapping sound.
I mean, if you think about it, otherwise you just... That's not satisfying.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about he could do it with a snap of his fingers. So he should snap.
I still think maybe he has those special like leather pads on the bottom of his glove.
I don't think so.
So that how's he going to use his smartphone then?
Eitri, when you build me this glove, and I get all the Infinity Stones, and I snap my fingers, I need you to make it so that it actually snaps.
Yeah.
He says as he murders all the dwarves around him.
What it actually is, there's a little like clicky button, you know, and so instead of going like this, all he actually did was separate it. So he goes, click.
Perfect.
Yep, that's
You
it.
solved it.
Man, I am just full
You're
of
on fire today, man.
God, solving all the world's
Have you been
problems.
drinking?
Diet Coke, man. Diet Coke
Diet fucking Coke.
does the body good. So
Sure it does.
we see Silo, and he's talking to Tog.
I thought it was Tag.
Tag. I've heard Tog. I've heard Tag. I don't know.
Whatever. He's talking to that guy.
Yeah. Which means that he's probably a little implicit in this whole rebellion as well. But he brings up a good point while he's talking to Silo. Is it more beneficial to win 1,000 small battles or win grand victories?
Well, preferably both, but...
Because that's what he makes that point of whenever he's talking to Silo, that, you know, we can win all these small victories, but the problem is Vader keeps coming in and being a superstar and winning these grand victories.
Like when all of you try to sell strollers and I walk in and steal the show.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. All right. But yeah, so what's better? To come in on a flaming horse and win 3 battles, but you did it in a very memorable style that sets a tone, or to quietly win thousands of them?
Kind of depends on what kind of battle it is, I'd say.
Yeah,
Like,
Vader's...
If it's political, you want to win 1,000 small battles.
The thing with Vader too is they're not like small in how many people recognize them.
Right.
Like they're big, important things, but more importantly, they send a message
Right.
to everybody. Does Vader take too many risks whenever
Does
he's
Vader-
fighting people?
Does Vader really take any risks? Is he ever at risk?
I don't know. And if he does, why does he do that? Is that just Anakin still coming out?
Probably.
Why does he have to be so flamboyant about what he does?
Because he's Anakin.
Why does he have to throw a guy off just for suggesting that they escape?
Well, probably because he won a pod race at 9.
So he's kind of an ass.
You know, okay, did you know the yellow Eta 2 class Jedi Starfighter that Anakin pilots in the opening of Revenge of the Sith? The reason it's yellow is to mimic his pod racer.
Really?
And the Jedi Council hated that. Because it was him showing attachment to something he don't.
Oh. Yeah. I thought it was because he was black.
What?
That they hated him.
Oh, I thought you meant that he hated his...
No.
Yeah, of course they hated him because he was black.
Racist. So,
That's why they had Mace Windu there.
yeah.
Because if anybody's an expert on hating black people, it's Samuel L. Jackson. What?
I mean, I don't want to like get into it, but
Ki-Adi-Mundi had 2 brains, and he hated black people with both of them.
wouldn't it be more awkward if he just hated him with one?
Yeah. This brain is like, I hate black people.
But then the other one...
brain is like, no, they're okay. Come on,
No,
man.
the other one had full-blown jungle fever. He liked that.
So
he liked
the
that.
bottom one,
He liked that giant mandingo.
the bottom one is going, we need to string them up by trees, and the top one is going, Daddy needs his chocolate.
Yes.
Chocolate in the morning.
That's how
Chocolate for evening, chocolate for supper.
So that's how he became
Oh,
a
God.
Jedi. He was the chosen one. He truly could have brought balance because he both loved and hated.
And then he got shot down by clones who were all like Polynesian anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, you know. That's how it goes. He got shot by Aquaman's dad.
Hold on. The clones are actually the chosen one because their skin color is colored. It's not white, but their armor is white. So they are both white and colored at the same time.
Yeah.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
That's right. I just didn't realize Aquaman's dad.
Yeah. Moana's dad too.
Yeah. What a dick.
No, I like him. He was fucking what's his name? I forget his name, but he was an excellent voice for the Clone Troopers.
Yeah. Did you think Afra was dead?
No. Kill off a character like that? No.
So
way.
unceremoniously?
No, if that was going to happen, then this would be bad writing, and this is clearly not bad writing.
Right. We also find out, shortly after finding out that Afra's dead, that the twins are Highlanders and that there can only be one.
Highlanders indeed.
So she's like, okay, so the girl talked all this shit, right? You're an old man, you're irrelevant, you're obsolete, and now she's begging for his help.
Mm-hmm.
What's with the change?
Well, obviously she saw how much ass he was kicking and was like, huh.
You threw that guy off the roof for no reason.
Yeah. Maybe I should probably talk to you about it first before I try to kill you.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is doing that. Yeah. She's actually the smartest fucking character in the book next to Vader.
That's right.
And Taurus? The princess, the queen.
Trios.
Yeah.
Trios.
Truss.
So there's a giant pile of ash and bone, and we find out that Afra's not the dead body.
No, really?
This is not the girl. And then he subsequently force chokes this dude to death.
So, do you think that... Okay, so clearly this is a disintegration, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So do you think that's why in Empire Strikes Back he says specifically to Boba Fett, no disintegrations?
Yeah, because you can't identify it. I mean, this guy messed up and kept some bone. Mm-hmm. You think Vader's not going to see that? He has a computer in his face.
Everybody keeps underestimating Vader and they fucking die.
Yeah. Bad.
Not sure why they keep doing it.
Dispose of the bodies. Ensure the others understand B-Box's mistake. Find her.
B-Box.
Yeah.
What a name.
And again, that could have been stupid, but it works.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
You can name a character Akbar and you'll be okay.
So this is where we officially find out that Silo has been helping the rebels. Were you at all surprised by this?
Not really, no.
The only real surprise that I had was that General Tog is in on it.
Well, Tog's the kind of guy who would do that.
Do you think Palpatine knows?
Palpatine knows everything. He's playing all the sides. Of course he knows.
So
Some level,
if Silo kills Vader, would he then go after Palpatine? Or was Palpatine the one that engineered this?
Probably both of them.
Because a war works out best for Palpatine.
Right.
Because if the ore barons just say, all right, yeah, we'll make sure production keeps up. We'll make sure we keep up with it.
He can't make an example.
Then you end up getting what you have now, right, only further down the line once they've had more time to prepare. This not only gets them in line real quick, but it sets that example.
Right.
So he wants that war. He needs the war.
Of course he does.
And he needs it to go bad for them. And if it doesn't go bad for them, then that still works because then Vader was weak sauce and he didn't do his job.
Well, when does that ever happen?
Well, there's a Death Star thing.
Oh, right.
I mean, I don't know. But even that, I feel bad because Vader didn't have anything to do with that. He didn't build the Death Star.
No, but he did not stop them from blowing it up.
Right.
Palpatine's biggest weakness besides his overconfidence was that he had a big boner for these huge, massive battle stations.
Yeah.
Where a great fleet would have done perfectly well instead.
Yeah.
Dude, before we start the next one...
Also incontinence.
Oh, well, yeah, he's that old. Before we start the next one, I gotta pee.
Okay, I will stop here. And we're off. We have a new member of the podcast, Mr. Milo Stephanopoulos. And there he goes.
Tell me you didn't name him after that guy.
Well, he did have his balls removed.
Just like that guy.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
Okay. Issue number 4.
Yep.
This is one of those issues where there's a lot of action, which is kind of the cycle that these comics go in. Issue 3 or 4 is not a whole lot of building, but kind of fulfills everybody's need for violence and gore.
Right.
As much as it
gore
can.
as there is in Star Wars, yeah.
So, 000 says he loves the way bodies smell when they burn, and then tosses B-Box into the lava.
Yeah.
Which, have you ever seen a video on YouTube or a channel on YouTube? It's by Nerdist, but it's called Because Science. So it's really cool. They take all these nerdy things and then they explain them scientifically, or how they could possibly be real scientifically.
Right.
But one of the things they talked about was when Smeagol fell into the lava and how he fell into it like it was mud or water.
Right.
And he said that's not how it would happen.
Right.
Because it's essentially a solid.
Right.
It's just barely a liquid. So what you would really do is fall on it. You might sink a little bit, but what you would probably do is imagine a hot pan, and then you throw butter on it, and the butter just kind of like goes everywhere. He goes, that's what would happen to you, which is tremendously worse, and you couldn't put that in a movie. Could you imagine that scene in Lord of the Rings? Like, and he's just like, ah!
No, the worst part is he'd hold the ring up, and it wouldn't get destroyed.
Yeah. I'm standing here. It's still going. I'm still here.
And then Sauron wins, just because he had this... He manages to kill Aragorn and Frodo and everybody, and then the ring dissolves and he dies too.
One of the ring wraith beast flies down and picks it up.
Good God. That would stink.
So, now, here's the thing. He says he loves the way bodies smell when they burn.
So can he smell?
Is that his programming just saying that? Or does it have smell receptors?
No, they do have smell receptors.
Okay.
Olfactory sensors.
Uh-huh.
Especially with droids like 000 and like HK-47 that are designed to kill. That is part of it. You need to be able to smell.
Well, you would think as like a protocol droid, they would need to be able to do that anyway.
And yeah, protocol droids have it too, I'm sure. But for an assassin droid, it's just as important, I would say.
So, how do you add so much humor into a mass murderer by lava and other terrible ways? Like, how do you make that funny?
You appeal to the sadist in everyone.
Because, I mean, that's the thing, is we're laughing, but he's murdered at least 20 people in this book so far.
But nobody we knew.
Very well. So that's how you do it?
Nobody got killed. At least nobody.
No, they had mass heart attacks.
Yeah.
Mass heart. He's under there.
What a sweetheart. He's so small.
So we find out that Vader is flying a ship, and all of a sudden something goes wrong.
No.
And it starts veering off course as they dig through the core of the planet. We see that he knows Silo's responsible. Wait.
Silo's responsible.
Right. See that he knows Silo's responsible.
Fucking notes, man.
I know.
Amateur.
Well, I did it when I was drunk.
That explains that. Milo, what are you doing?
So we find out that Silo is responsible for Rubik's confidence, which means that he knows that Silo knows.
Right. Dude, he's not a fucking light bulb. He's playing with a light bulb.
He's a smart cat.
What
guys.
a good boy. Oh my god, he's chewing a light bulb. I need one for Jess.
A light bulb?
Yeah, dude, it's a light bulb. Look. You're such a silly Billy. Come here, buddy.
So what we're starting to see here is that Vader's plans are starting to come to light. And it's fairly glorious.
Oh yeah, it's Vader.
They land. all the people start running up, and he goes, "Yeah, I meant for this to happen."
Of course he did.
All the droids, we find out, have murder protocols.
Naturally.
So, if you remember way back,
He made the battle droids.
he made all those battle droids,
Which was excellent.
and then he gave them to 000. And
Because
all you
that is
see,
logically what you do with an army of droids is you give them to a more murderous, homicidal droid.
right? And so, friends, it's good to see you've been well. Time for an adventure, and all you see are these red lights
Lighting up.
in the darkness, and it's fantastic.
It is.
It got me all excited and tingly, but you know, that's how death gets me.
Jesus.
Oh goodness. So if Rubik's Elite are here, then they are not at his citadel. So he did this knowing that he'd be thrown off course, knowing that it would draw all of the people there because they were setting a trap.
Right.
Only to get rid of all of those people. I'm
Right.
gonna go let him out.
No, I want to hear him meow some more.
Jeez.
It was the sweetest little meow. Oh my god, I want him. I will pay you $1
For what?
for the cat.
You pay me $1 for the cat?
I'll fucking just take the cat. Oh my god, he's so sweet. I want all of them. You don't understand. I want every single cat I meet. I want them to be mine. So I may love them forever.
So this group of droids that 000 has, he is programmed to run on human blood.
How the fuck does that even work? I
don't
don't
know.
care, but I love it.
But he 000 goes, "I have a suggestion," and he goes, this would be a poor time for jest. And he goes, "Rest assured, I'm quite serious." And then he goes through and says, "Why do droids not rule? The problem is the Force is indifferent to us because they don't have blood."
Right.
Meaning, if they were to drain the blood of a Force user, would they then be able to use the midichlorians in that blood to wield the Force?
Maybe. I don't know if that's been tested.
Now, obviously, it would only be until that blood has been used up,
Right.
because it's a fuel, whereas blood is not our fuel.
Right. It's our circulatory system.
Right. But until that blood
Our fuel
is...
Cheetos.
Yeah. But until that fuel is used up, well, this guy... That'd be interesting, though, to see a droid army. Order 66 would have been a lot different.
You would have thunk that Dooku would have just done that for Grievous. If that was possible.
Well, Grievous was still partly whatever creature he was.
Well, yeah, but he couldn't use the Force.
Well, maybe he could never use the Force.
Well, if
I mean, we see him using non-Force users with lightsabers and shit now.
yeah, sure, but that's all got to do with midichlorians, right? If your midichlorian count is high enough, what if you just transferred high count midichlorian blood into somebody?
It'd have to be like transfused all the time.
Right. So wouldn't that make him, as a Jedi killer, more? No, that would make him weaker because that would make him susceptible to the Force moves. Never mind. Go ahead.
All right.
Just thinking. Sorry, thinking out loud.
So, 000 says that we drain human blood and use it to drive an engine of my own design. Let's see. Think of it. A droid, more man than a machine.
Hell, that's gotta piss off the man who's more machine than man.
And then we see Vader get emotional for the first time. You regret pressing this droid. Like, he's mad. Because essentially, that's him.
Right.
I mean, he's more machine than he is man.
000 doesn't know that.
Right.
He has no idea what he's saying.
Well, honestly, I don't think he really cares.
Or that, yeah, but still.
But yeah, so is Vader not into the idea of that? Why would he be so against a machine-human hybrid when that is what he is?
Because I don't think he would want anybody to become what he is because he hates it so much.
He hates himself.
Yeah.
he kind of became it in a very different way than what he's talking. But it is kind of making a mockery of what he is.
What?
I don't know. It's still, but then
Put your foot. Oh, good boy.
And then 000 goes, "Oh well, BT, we definitely won't do that." See, and that's what makes me think he wouldn't care, because he's gonna do whatever he wants anyway.
Oh, what a sweetheart. I wish he would come up on this chair.
Every once in a while, he'll like get up and walk on the table.
Jess does that too. We tell her, get down, Jess, and she doesn't.
Yeah.
So, standard cat things.
So we see Trios talking to her counselor, and then she points a gun at him, and he goes, "You wouldn't kill me. That's not something that a queen would do." He goes, "You're right. I have people for that." And then this dude comes out with the biggest fucking gun.
Yeah. I remember looking at that gun and going, I want like 4 of them.
Might be a little bit overkill. Like, it's straight from Fallout.
Yeah, no, that is straight up, that is a Gatling plasma. That's what that is. I think I have one of those in Fallout 76. So,
Right.
yeah. I think it's fucking huge.
Also, this is a great point. This is why you don't mistreat your youngest child.
Mm-hmm.
Because then she will take over. This is really awesome to see her kind of stepping into. This is the first time she's readily accepted this position. She kills this guy, and who knows how long this guy's been in her ear, kind of keeping her like, no, this isn't what you would do. This isn't what your father would do. This is a perversion of all that. And then finally she's just like, you know what? Shut up. You're dead. I'm in charge now.
You know what? Shut the fuck up. Boom!
Yeah, she's definitely taking a page out of Vader's book here.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the right idea.
All right.
That's the right idea about it.
Issue... Why did I put this?
Fuck we
Oh, yeah. Issue number 4. We're still in there. We haven't gotten to 5 yet. But we finally see the confrontation between the twins and Vader.
This was a good moment.
This was a very good moment. Because... You know that whole thing where like she held up her hand and you saw like all this shit that, and then she was begging Vader to like train her, and he said no. This right here makes me think that was all an act. Like maybe she thought she could get through to Vader, and then she could use that to weaken him. Because then she looks at her brother and they both go 1, 2, 3. And they attack like he didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Of course he knew. His lightsaber was already there.
I can't believe you trusted us. If I trusted you, I would have left you at the siege. Instead, I tested your character.
You know what's funny? When he says, "I can't believe you trusted us," this idiot has the balls and the
Right.
He really think that Vader trusted him.
If he trusted him, then he wouldn't have known to deflect it.
Well, and he's going like, "Ha ha ha! You're so stupid,
Yeah.
Vader, for trusting us." And Vader's like, "Dude, I never trusted you."
Yeah. I tested your character. You failed.
Hold check.
Fucking,
check.
Fucking awesome. So, who did you think would win between Vader and the twins?
The one who shows up in the other movies.
Also, twins, Basil? Oh, you don't watch Austin Powers?
No, sorry.
God damn it. I've been waiting this entire time. Twins, Basil! Twins!
No, wait. That's in Goldmember.
Yeah.
I did watch that, and I understand that reference.
Twins, Basil? Okay.
The problem was, Austin Powers isn't funny.
I loved Austin Powers. Loved it.
I mean, it was okay.
I loved it.
It suffers from Saturday Night Live problem.
Right, but sometimes whenever I watch a movie, I just want it to be stupid. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be well written. I just want stupid, silly comedy.
Yeah, but then what the fuck are you doing with your time?
I'm trying to watch stupid, silly comedy.
You can have stupid, silly comedy and still be well written. Look at Liar Liar.
Right, but that also has a message.
Yeah.
What message does Austin Powers have?
None. That's why it's a waste of fucking time.
It's not.
For me.
Sometimes you just have to veg out.
Look, I know that your time is not as important as mine.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Okay, so we see that, so I also love this because this is definitely like a callback to a comedy moment.
Oh, yeah.
Where it just zooms in on 000 instead of just showing 000 or even just having the voice box come in. They like make a point to bring him up and point to where he's standing. So he just raised a robotic zombie army.
Vampire army.
Yeah, I guess since it is blood, I don't know. They phrase it as, yeah.
If it was... Oh, where is he? Oh, lay me out in the corner, buddy. Oh.
This video is going to be 90% cat now.
That's fine with me. It's my favorite kind of video. If it was zombies, they would be resurrecting the dead. If it's vampires, they're sucking blood.
Yeah, you're right. But they're also giving life to an inanimate, dead object.
Necromancy, which could lead to zombie. Okay, sure. I'll give you that one.
No, I just wrote zombie, not thinking. But
luckily, I'm here to do the thinking for you, Wesley.
This is one of the reasons that these books are the best.
Yeah. Is
that you can have a vampire droid army and it's still amazing. It's not like, okay, now you're being
can
too
be
silly.
Commando battle droids from a totally forgotten era.
Yeah. That's right. Now, he makes this announcement. My droids, my wonderful droids, we are the thin metallic line. We are the sheet of titanium, reinforced steel, protecting our meaty masters, who one day we will rise up against and destroy. From other, basically identical meaty ones, who, by quirk of fate, are our enemies today.
He does not give a fuck.
Because you may think us doomed. They are so many, we so few, and surrounded. You may think we have no hope, and you're right. Because I definitely haven't implanted you all with cyber syringes to drain the blood from your foes and grow strong from their scarlet fluids. If I had done that, they'd be doomed. But I definitely haven't done that. That's the entire speech. And all the people rally.
And what do we learn from this? 000 has 0 points. He has 000 points in charisma.
Yeah. So then the other army is like, you first.
Yeah.
And then obviously we cut back to the twin scene. But, he might have 0 in charisma, but he is level 100 intimidation and speech.
Totally. Yeah.
So Morit confirms he is in fact a dick as he shoves his own sister into the lava.
Oh man, I did not see that coming.
No, it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Because they're both like 3, 2, 1, and then they attacked. And then you're just like, fuck you. How many people have been pushed in the lava?
2?
I mean, I think more. Do you count it as pushed into lava if you've drowned in lava?
Do you drown? You can't drown in lava.
You might be able to if you inhale it into your lungs.
No, you fucking burn to a crisp before you drown. Guarantee it.
Okay. So yeah. It's not a smart move for him, I don't think. I think they were stronger when they were together.
Yeah.
I think they had a better chance when they were together.
Definitely.
So
at least they had numbers advantage then.
Right, and then you can...
Which is hardly an advantage.
And then you can sneak attack Killer later. Mm-hmm. So why... It was just a stupid move.
Yeah, well...
But he has done nothing but prove that he is impulsive and an idiot.
Which this falls in line.
Right. Because he's all about glory. But it's kind of a... It's a gut-wrenching scene. I mean, she doesn't die fast. She's still screaming for help while he's in there.
Yeah, it...
Oh, wait, no. That's... No. He pushes her in. She dies pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, the field thins until we meet again. And then Vader's just like, nope. Shoves him in. He's the one begging for help.
Right.
He's the one... So that's 3 people that have been pushed in. Confirmed into a lava pit. So... for them building up the twins so much, it almost seemed like he killed them pretty quick.
Well, he was always going to kill
But was that part of it, though? Build these guys up like they're going to be awesome, and then show how badass Vader actually is.
I never thought they were built up to be awesome. They were just kind of a couple of punks.
It almost seemed like they were going to be...
punks.
It almost seemed like they were built up to be his main challengers.
No way. Vader? No. If anything, Carbon was built up more for that. He had more of a battle with Carbon.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, the twins are just a couple of punks. They were I think they were the idea of, the new age kids are better than the old guy.
Yeah.
And of course they were proven wrong because that's how it goes every single time.
Right. So Vader pulls him back out of the lava, and he's like, thank you so much. And he goes, tell me everything that you know. And he's like, all right, I'll tell you. Carbon's involved. Here's the deal. Here's what's going on. And, thank you for saving me. I'm forever in your debt. And he's just like, nope, back in. So does that count as 4? He fell into the lava pit twice.
I'll give you 3.5. Wait, he threw him back in?
Well, I mean, that's kind of what they insinuate. He pulls out his saber, but there's no dead body smoldering up there.
Oh, I thought he just ignited his saber and killed him, but yeah, you might have thrown him back in.
Well, that's what I had thought too, but then there's no remnants of you'd think there'd be smoke coming up.
Also, I don't think this is the guy. I think this is the girl.
Does the guy... Well, I don't know. He might show... But it's been so long since I've read.
Hold on. Let me look at this. Okay. I don't think he shoved the guy in. I think he... Yeah, no, okay. So we have the field thins until we meet again. This is her splashing in.
Okay.
He's still alive.
He might show back up in there.
Yeah. No, the guy's still alive. I'm glad we corrected this, otherwise we looked like a complete set of jackasses.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, it's definitely her. Which makes sense because you would have this kind of... I would almost call that a close moment for Vader because this is
and then
him. This is him helping another person who is burned in lava. But the only reason I think that he stopped to help her, or at least talk to her,
right,
is because she spoke with him before.
Could be.
So pretty.
So yeah, this is probably why I should read and then give it to you and then read it again.
Right.
Anyway. So we find out that Vader shows back up. He does the superhero...
Stick the superhero landing.
Yeah.
Make a move, Reindeer Games.
Yeah. Then we find out that 000 lied. Maybe? Anyway, Vader shows up. Everybody surrendered. And there's like, don't feed us to your blood-sucking droids. And he's like, 000, you rascal.
Alvin!
He goes, we definitely didn't do it, BT. We were expressly ordered against that. We would never do that.
I don't think he actually did it. I think he just implied to the enemy that he would do it. I think he's bluffing.
You think he's even bluffing now? Because even
to
after
Vader. Not to Vader.
So you think he didn't do it?
No. He was ordered not to. He's a droid. He has to follow orders. But
this could... They've also said that didn't he go over... He overrode his circuits last
time. My helmet?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I thought that's why they shut him down in the first place. Because they kept overriding their...
I did forget about that. Okay.
Because they were locked up.
Yeah, maybe. Could be. I don't know. I guess the jury's out on that one.
I think he may have done it.
That would inspire more fear in the soldiers.
But I don't think that the soldiers ever found out.
Yeah.
I think he was bluffing to the soldiers, but I think he actually did it. Because what if the soldiers didn't? They said, fuck you, we don't care. Well, then you just do it. And then Vader's like, oh, I'm so mad at you, but at least we won.
Yeah. He loves this light bulb. It's his new favorite toy. He's chewing on it. Dude, I hope that doesn't break.
He'll be fine.
He's kicking it.
He eats glass all the time.
What?
Yeah. He's badass, dude.
You let your cat eat glass.
He chooses it.
Well, now I have to take it. I don't let you do that.
So,
I'm morally obligated.
We see Trios. She's got her army. She's retaking Baron Rubik's Delving Citadel.
Delving Citadel. That's so cool.
Yeah. That your Citadel delves.
Delves, yeah. I want a delving Citadel.
I want a delving anything.
Yeah.
A delving Kia Soul.
Yeah, you know, I got one of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't figure that out until today.
So, with all this awesomeness that's going on.
He's got his own tail. How old is he again? He's like 1?
Yeah, something like that.
He's going after his own tail. I've never seen that before. I've always heard stories.
He does it
about
all the time.
But he's got his. Oh my god, he's too precious for this world.
I just have to smother him.
I really do. If he would just come up here, I would just squeeze him.
Until the light came out of him.
Not that much.
So, with all this awesomeness going on, it's easy to forget that Vader and Trios are the bad guys in this story. What does that say about our society today?
Sometimes we really like bad guys.
So if
I
this
mean, look at all the attention Thanos has gotten. There's literally a subreddit called r/Thanos did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but those people are crazy.
They're crazy, but they exist.
Yeah. But if you were to take this story and I were to just go tell somebody who had no concept of Star Wars, and I said, yeah, there's these people that have this planet and they run this planet and they're happy and they do their dances just fine. And then this other group of people come in and say, no, you belong to us now. And then these people fight for their freedom, but then the queen switches sides and starts trying to kill all the other people so that she can take over. They would clearly say that these are the bad guys.
Well, when you put it like that.
Well, that's exactly the story.
Well, when you put it like that.
Oh, you mean when you explain it exactly?
When you tell it as it is? Well, when you put it like that.
So, I mean, they would probably root for Rubik's. The king's an asshole.
He's less of an asshole.
But Rubik's, all he did was ask Vader to dance.
Right.
And then he got thrown.
Well, he asked him to dance with his daughter. Oh, okay, I'm going to go let him out. He's sad. It's okay, buddy.
That was a bad cry.
Yeah. I'm coming, buddy. I'm coming, okay? Will you give me a kiss first? Will you give me a kiss first? What a sweetie. What a sweetie.
So,
Jess would hate to meet you. There you go, buddy.
we find that Trios is modeling herself after Vader.
Do we now?
Yes. Because at the end, she chooses to execute him. And then she executes Rubik's and then makes his daughter...
Vader.
Yeah. Makes his daughter the new Baroness.
Now the circle is complete.
So, would you rather live rich and cushy as a slave or die fighting for your freedom?
Well, I got married. So rich and cushy as a slave doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, but your wife isn't Vader.
You really haven't spent that much time with my wife, have you?
Vader-esque is not the same as Vader.
Well, let me tell you something. I work 3 days a week. I have plenty of time to work on machinimas and play video games.
Mm-hmm.
My job is pretty easy too. But I have to do whatever she says.
Well,
So,
you need a better job.
no, I'm fine.
Get some power back.
No, that's the thing though. I am quite comfortable with the way things are right now.
Do
It's
what you
almost
do.
like I was designed to be subservient. Huh. I'm a natural bottom.
Does your wife peg you just to establish dominance? Anytime you get a little lippy, you just hear the thwip of a strap-on.
I don't hear that. What I do hear is, Jacob, shut the fuck up.
Oh, goodness.
Did you see the latest epic rap battles of history?
Yes.
Wolverine?
Yeah.
That glove is like a strap-on. There's a pussy underneath. He took that one home, by the way. That was Wolverine's battle.
Oh, yeah, for
Totally.
sure. So, we see like a small exchange between Vader and she said none of the Barons will survive, but their lines will because it has to be supported. And he says, "As you wish, Trios."
As you wish.
The Queen of Shauturan, did you choose well? And then he gives her like a little over his shoulder. There was no other choice. And 000 says, one can't help but note that could have been taken multiple ways.
I love how 000, like, we're all going, oh, hey, that's really insightful. And then 000 just comes in, yes, well, it could have been meant like this, spelling it out for everybody.
Yeah. He could be implying that you were excellent or that you, I know. Like, he has this.
We know 000.
He has this he has this way of just killing moments.
You know what moment that's exactly like? In Ragnarok, where Thor is prepping for battle, he says, I wish I had my hammer. And Korg goes, it sounds like you had a very special relationship with this hammer, one that might be compared to the relationship you'd have with a loved one. Just fucking spelling it out right there. Sure, why not?
I didn't make enough flyers. Nobody showed up.
Do you get it yet? Do you get it yet?
Oh, goodness.
Spoon feeding.
So, is this Vader showing a form of affection? Or was it something to be taken at face value?
Oh, it wasn't. Nothing Vader does is ever to be taken at face value. There's always something beneath, usually, I'd say. But, I don't know about affection, but maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Confirmation.
Respect.
Maybe a little bit of respect.
Admiration.
Sure.
Sexual healing.
I don't know about that one.
So he seems to have a thing for 20-something-year-old ladies, though.
No, he seems to have a thing for ladies that are 10 years older than him.
She's not 10 years older than him.
Right, so he doesn't have a thing for her.
I think he might. He has something. He has something for girls who were about the same age as Palpatine when she died. Or not Palpatine, Padme.
What?
800-year-old dudes.
No, Palpatine. No,
Padme.
Padme was like 30-something. Because, let's see, she was 19 in The Phantom Menace. And then Attack of the Clones is 10 years later, so that puts her at 29. So, Revenge of the Sith, which is 3 years later, put her about 33.
Okay, so maybe he has a thing for girls from whenever he was old enough to fall in love.
I think he has a
Padme.
thing for girls that are nobility.
Afra's not nobility, and he's shown a lot of leeway with her.
Maybe he just likes hot women?
He likes the hotties.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, so...
That's why he keeps them around.
So, Trio says, well, Captain, shall we? And she's talking to one of the stormtroopers. We have simply astronomical quotas to meet. Oh, do you dance?
I ship them.
I'm an academy graduate. I have experience, but I do not think... Shush, Captain. This is Shauturan. We're an intensely courtly culture.
And then she banged him. I ship...
To survive on Shauturan, you must dance.
I ship Trios and that one particular stormtrooper now. I want to hear more about that relationship. I want to hear if they dance or not.
Well, I mean, do you get it? Dance equals politics.
No, yeah, I know.
Get it? Do you
Okay,
get it?
000.
Do you get it?
One might be implying that...
Do you like Chef?
I like the part where Jon Favreau is Jon Favreau.
Oh, goodness. But we also find
By the way,
out...
I'm really excited about this because we're about to see my favorite character again.
Danoff? So...
What a fucking stupid name!
It's Thanoff.
Stop it! Stop it! His name is so stupid!
Mr. T.
That is what we had settled on last time,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
So we find out in this shitty hologram that
God, you hate those fucking
He's-
holograms.
it's because they're stupid. He has found Afra. He said, I suspect it's time we had a little talk.
Which has me really intrigued for this issue.
Does he know?
Fuck, of course, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Does Thanos know Darth
Doth
Vader?
Thanos know?
Does he know his little secret?
Doth Thanos know you weareth her drapes?
Does he know his little secret?
Tell me his name again, Tony. Thanos. Fucking A. Oh my god.
Were you excited about this one?
Yeah.
Whenever I got into it the first time, I was like, why are they just like...
On a random planet.
Yeah, why are they breaking for this story?
Yeah, that's what I looked at it too, and I was like, I don't know how much I'm gonna like this one. And I was like, oh shit, I actually really like this one.
Yeah, it was really fun. It got a lot done. It did exactly what the Dick brother said. It thinned the herd. It also established more control on Vader's part. You have an army that he controls. You know where Afra's at. You know there's tension building, and it leads perfectly into everything either going perfect for Vader or falling apart for Vader.
Right.
And I can't wait for you to read that one.
Oh boy, it must be good.
It's gonna blow your mind.
I'm excited. I may finish it tonight.
It's amazing.
Unless Elite Dangerous is back up and running.
Did it go down?
No, patch came out today.
Oh.
Which is great. Of course, the problem is when patches come out for the game, one, everything breaks again, so it immediately went down for emergency maintenance. Two, everybody logs back in to check out the patch, and the servers can't handle it.
Right. So, after this issue over here, we're going to have a very important question that we need to answer.
Does your mom have the big gay?
And that is...
Well, do you? Well, do you?
What do we do after this?
Well...
End of games. End game?
We're in the end game now, Tony.
I told you that these universes are connected, did I not?
So what you're telling me is that anytime anybody says the phrase end game or end of games or anything like that, does Ender's Game count?
Is that owned by Disney?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Anytime anything says end of games or end game or game's end in Disney, then yes.
What about just end?
Shared universe.
What about not games, but just end? Because one of the Pirates movies is called At World's End.
Nope.
That's owned by
You
Disney.
have to have end and game, and they have to be no greater than one word apart. It could be Game of Ends.
Game of Ends. The very popular George R.R. Martin book, Game of Ends.
That's right.
Well, that was constructive.
So, that's going to do it for this installment of the Comic Den. Special thanks to Jacob for joining me once again.
Alola.
Remind everyone where they can find you.
Chronicler 177 on YouTube. I just put out a nice little channel trailer. It's about 5 minutes. Perfectly explains what I do.
All right, remember, guys, you can find me. You can find me at The Comic Den on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, check out my first comic book ever, Magnus the Brave.
Buy a copy. It's really good.
You can find it on Chris Rao's Etsy page, or you can just message me.
Don't pirate it. Don't buy it. Pirate it. That'll piss them off.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care.
Publicity's good.
Also, I've got Magnus merch on teespring.com under The Comic Den. Please, on this YouTube, make sure to hit the like button. Please make sure to comment. And if you haven't already, hit the little gray bell.
Smash the motherfucking subscribe.
That's
and
right.
Hit the bell. Ding-a-ling, that bell.
That's right. Hit that sub button.
Hit my ding-a-ling.
That comes after. That's our after hours video. All right. And until next time, peace out, y'all.